Chapter 5:15. If 4 or 5 of these top sect leaders came, he wouldn't care at all. But there were far more than 4 or 5 of them. He was wondering whether or not all the top sect leaders were here. How was he going to fight this battle? Even if he pulled the dragon in, it wouldn't be enough. The dragon said, "Life and death are decided by fate. The death energy on your bodies is really thick, and maybe today will be the day we die. Struggling is just useless. Even then, we can't just sit here and do nothing," Lin Wani said. He seemed to understand what the dragon was saying. It seemed to be saying that the result would be the same anyway, so why resist? Wouldn't it be better to enjoy it quietly? He definitely couldn't accept such a mentality of giving up on saving others. He had no ambition at all. The dragon coiled its body, and its huge head came in front of old ancestor Zhao. Its eyes gave off a loving and reminiscing light. "Little Zhao, it's been a very, very long time since we first met. At that time, you didn't have the achievements you have now. In the blink of an eye, you've grown old. I once told you that you're very stupid and not smart, but you're very stubborn." Old ancestor Zhao, who was laying there, spat out fresh blood. He was a Dao Realm Stage 7 expert. Even if he was badly injured, he couldn't die from a sneak attack. But old ancestor Zhao was really sneak attack. Moreover, he was sneak attacked twice, and the person who did it was his family. Till now, old ancestor Zhao still couldn't understand why. Why did all of this happen? His emotionless eyes stared into the dragon's. It was like he had returned to when he was young. His father brought him to Dragon Island to meet the Dragon King. At the same time, he spent some time with the Dragon King. During that period of time, he recalled all the things that happened between him and the Dragon King. To him, the Dragon King was a mountain that he couldn't climb. In the eyes of the Dragon King, he was just a small ant. "Kid, your talent is really bad. I want to become the strongest person in the Zhao family. Even if my talent is bad, I will use hard work to make up for it. Is that so? I am looking forward to that day." "What is this?" "This is my treasure and I won't give it to others. Use it. I think that with your talent and hard work, you will become the strongest person in your heart." Old ancestor Zhao felt like everything around was about to shatter. Am I going to die? He actually recalled what had happened in the past. It was just that he thought of it. Everything he had now was largely due to the help of the Dragon King. The thing he had consumed was none other than the dragon essence of the Dragon King. He had consumed the dragon essence. Only by changing his talent would he be able to become the strongest expert in the Zhao family and reach Dao Realm Stage 7. "What stupid thing am I doing?" Old ancestor Zhao muttered to himself. Even he realized. The Dragon King was like an old father to him, but he joined forces with others to kill the Dragon King, just for an uncertain matter. At this moment, at the venue, Zhao Sun roared like a madman. "What are you hesitating for? Now is the best time to kill them. Also, that dragon, the reason why my Zhao family is able to have our current status is all because of that dragon. Zhao family can refine purple gold dragon essence pills for you. Do you know what the purple gold dragon essence pill is? That is a divine pill that can defy the heavens and change one's fate." The sect leaders who came were all pumped up. Naturally, they knew what the purple gold dragon essence pill was. Zhao family wasn't strong, but naturally, they were strong. The reason why they were so strong was because of that pill. Lin Wani was really anxious. What was going on with the dragon? He had already explained it so clearly, so why didn't it have any thoughts? If they worked together to fight the enemy, they might have a chance of surviving. But looking at the situation, the dragon obviously didn't want to bother about him. Then, Lin Wani looked at the people in the air. "Do you really want to surround and kill us? You should think this through. With our strength, if you can't kill us all, then there will come a day when you will pay an extremely terrible price." He wasn't trying to scare them. If a Tao Realm Stage 7 expert really went crazy and took revenge, that wasn't something that anyone could handle. Even the top sects were the same. Ha ha, Lin Wani, stop scaring us here. Do you think that you can escape with your current situation? The one who spoke was Evil Alliance Blazing Sun sect leader Flame Demon Old Ancestor. His fire-like hair floated in the air, and the surrounding space became really hot. He was really strong, but compared to Lin Wani and the others, he was much weaker. Flame Demon Old Ancestor, as long as I escape, I will wipe out your Blazing Sun sect first. Lin Wani hollered in rage. Flame Demon Old Ancestor and Lin Wani looked at one another. He panicked deep down, but he acted calm and said in disdain, "Who are you trying to scare? Let's talk about it if we can escape." The person he hated the most was Lin Wani. This fellow was younger than them, but he was stronger than them. He was also overbearing, and when he wasn't defending U City, many sects suffered from Lin Wani. In fact, many people from the same generation as Lin Wani had already become elders, and some had even become sect masters. But he could ask them whether or not they hated him when they were young. They would probably all say in unison that the thief was Lin Wani. When Lin Wani was young, he had formed a team with Old Wu and led a bunch of country bumpkins to humiliate them many times. Just thinking about it was enough to infuriate both humans and gods, and they wanted to use a bolt of lightning to kill this bastard. After all of you found out that you had a chance to kill me, you all rushed over. It is my honor. I didn't expect me to be so important to all of you. Instantly, Lin Wani's gaze turned sharp. But please remember, if you want to kill me, I'm afraid some sect leaders will have to die here. I wonder if anyone is willing to do so. His words stunned all the sect leaders and sect leaders. That wasn't nonsense, and it was the truth. They wanted to kill Lin Wani, but they knew that Lin Wani was strong. Even if there were so many of them, some of them would die. They were all sect leaders, so who was willing to die for nothing and let others take advantage of them? Lin Wani, you are about to die and you still want to cause trouble. Who are you trying to scare? Do you think that with just the few of you, you can cause any waves? Remember this. Many of you came here because of your son. Evil Spirit Old Ancestor, your blood lotus was snatched by that kid. If you take Lin Wani's head and show it to that kid, he will regret it. The Old Ancestor looked towards Evil Spirit Old Ancestor and said. Evil Spirit Old Ancestor was stunned. He cursed in his heart. Why did you have to talk about me for no reason? These were all sad past events and he wanted to forget about it. Who knew that someone would actually bring it up? He was fantasizing about carrying Lin Wani's head to find Lin Fan. It felt good, but he didn't dare to. He really didn't dare to. Others might not know how strong Lin Fan was, but he knew it clearly. Was it something that an ordinary person could have? The Old Ancestor didn't stop and continued. Heaven-covering old demon, you probably think the same way, right? After all, that kid worked with Alliance experts to do unforgivable things to Heaven-covering demon sect. It wasn't a secret that Heaven-covering demon sect was destroyed by Lin Fan and the Alliance experts. But now that the other party had said it out so brazenly, Heaven-covering old demon was extremely displeased. His gaze towards Lin Fan was a little off. Ha ha ha! Lin Wani laughed. I didn't expect my son to be so amazing. If you didn't tell me, I wouldn't have known. But remember, although I might die today, my son will take revenge for me. Just wait and see. Evil Alliance, Monster Alliance, Buddha Alliance, and Celestial Alliance were all here. When they met, there was no conflict. Their goal was simple, which was to kill Lin Wani and the others. He is about to die and he still dares to be so arrogant. Don't give him a chance to recover. Attack together and kill them. Some people were indeed panicking, but at this moment, there was no point in talking. They had to take action as soon as possible. That was the real deal. Su Changsun, take care of Old Ancestor Zhao. Water Emperor and I will open a path for all of you. Lin Wani said. Water Emperor said, Brother Lin, I want to flee. Nonsense, you won't be able to run. Lin Wani stared. Water Emperor wasn't serious at all. He was dreaming if he wanted to flee now. Also, old ancestor Zhao, at least give him an answer. Although they wanted to kill him, old ancestor Zhao was the one who suggested it. He tried to persuade him, so he couldn't be so petty. To Lin Wani, if that dragon was willing to work with him, along with Water Emperor's strength, they had a 10% chance of escaping. But it was only 10%. But even then, it was worth it. If not, they would definitely die. Just at that moment, an unexpected voice spread from the distance. Is it really okay for all of you to surround my father? When they heard that voice, their hearts shook. They looked into the distance and didn't know who it was. But when they heard that voice, their hearts shook like they thought about someone. The dimension ripped open. A person slowly walked out from the dimension. Lin Fan. Lin Fan, many sects recognized who it was, especially heaven-covering old demon. His eyes shone red and he wanted to rip Lin Fan into pieces. On the contrary, evil spirit old ancestor was a little afraid. He was really afraid. He understood his own strength and knew how big the gap between them was. Unfilial kid, why did you come? When Lin Wani saw that it was his son, he was really anxious. He didn't want to see Lin Fan come here. Hee. Lin Fan smiled. Father, I am so amazing now, so why do you still call me that? But I haven't heard you call me that in a long time. I really miss it. He walked over slowly. No one stopped him and no one attacked to kill him. Lin Fan and the Alliance 9-star generals dealing with heaven-covering demon sect left a deep impression on them, which was why they were a little afraid. You. Lin Wani was so infuriated by Lin Fan's words that he didn't know what to say. Didn't he look at the situation? He dared to come alone. He was just asking to die. But he felt really happy. Fan was worried about his safety and didn't care about his own safety to come over. Looking at old ancestor Zhao, he was betrayed by 3 of his family members right away. This was the gap between people and there was no way to compare. Father, have a good rest. Leave the rest to me, Lin Fan said. But when he looked at the dragon, he was stunned. The dragon looked really familiar. It didn't look like a lizard dragon with a huge stomach, but a true god dragon. Who knew that such a thing actually existed? But all of that wasn't important now. There were more important things to do. Lin Fan looked into the sky and said without any fear, What is the meaning of the 4 alliances? Are you bullying me because I am old? If you have any problems, then come at me. Do you know how I came here? I went to Beast Monster Sect to ask for the location, and they didn't want to tell me. Then, I had no choice but to wipe them out and ask for the location. In terms of causing trouble, I am not weaker than all of you. If a normal person faced such a situation, they would be so terrified that they wouldn't even be able to say a word. After all, they were facing the elders of the top sects of the 4 alliances. How could they go up against them so easily? Lin Fan, you are just one person and you dare to be so arrogant? Someone couldn't take Lin Fan's arrogance and scolded him. Didn't he look at the current situation? He dared to be so arrogant and didn't care about them at all. Lin Fan looked at that person and laughed in disdain. I am arrogant? If you have balls, then come at me. Let me tell you, you are the one who shouted the most but didn't dare to attack. Other people might not know what you are thinking, but I do. You just want others to die so that you can reap the benefits. Shut up. You want to say that I am talking nonsense, right? Okay, then attack. Let's see how determined you are. His words were really sharp and he killed people without seeing blood. The person who shouted the most did have such thoughts. Now that Lin Fan said it out loud, he felt really bad. Damn. How could he be so much? Especially when he noticed their suspicious and weird gazes. He raised his head and retorted unwillingly, What is the meaning of this? I am not such a person. but everyone looked at him with shining eyes. What they meant was that he was indeed such a person. Stop pretending they saw through it. Guys, don't be distracted by his words. He is purposely delaying time, and he definitely has a plan. Let's attack together and kill them. Someone suggested and even encouraged everyone to attack. There was no need to hesitate. If this continued, then they wouldn't be able to do anything. Lin Fan laughed coldly. Interesting, you are not bad. But don't worry, if you have balls, then attack. My father and I will stare at you, and we will definitely kill you before you are killed by others. Oh right, I forgot to tell all of you something. Before I came here, I informed the Alliance headquarters about your actions. I think all of your sects have no leader and no peak combat strength. The Alliance can just casually send out one of their strongest 9-star generals, and they will be able to wipe out your sections. Even if you kill us when you return, you will only have a ruined sect waiting for you. When Lin Fan said these words, everyone was stunned. The situation changed. There was an uproar in the crowd. Impossible, do you think that the Alliance is your home and you can say whatever you want? A sect leader hollered in rage. Lin Fan smiled. Heaven-covering old demon, don't look at me with such a furious gaze. Tell them who destroyed your heaven-covering demon sect. At that moment, someone reacted. Wasn't Lin Fan and the strongest 9-star generals the one who destroyed heaven-covering demon sect? To be able to make the strongest 9-star generals of the Alliance attack, it wasn't something that could be achieved just by talking about conditions. When they thought about how their sect didn't have a peak expert, they were terrified. They didn't know whether or not Lin Fan was speaking the truth. But if it was true, then the outcome would be catastrophic. The strongest 9-star generals were all Dao Realm Stage 7 and the sects didn't have such experts. There was only one outcome, which was to be suppressed by the Alliance. Instantly, everyone panicked. Some people wanted to head back to check on the situation. Just as Lin Fan had expected, the key was that the people who came were from the 4 alliances. There was no trust between them at all. Some of them doubted one another and even wanted to stab one another. Water Emperor said, "Brother Lin, I told you that it is better to follow your son than the imperial dynasty. Look at this. Even I am afraid, but your son isn't afraid at all. I really respect his courage." Lin Wani felt much better. Naturally, he was in a good mood when people praised his son. But he waved his hands. This unfilial kid doesn't know his place. If only he was 30% as smart as me. Water Emperor squinted his eyes and felt like that was enough. This old fellow was addicted to acting. Just at that moment, heaven-covering old demon stepped out and raged. "Don't be tricked by this kid. Did you not hear about the Alliance's situation? The 2 strongest 9-star generals have been captured, so why would the Alliance work with him? Since all of you don't dare to attack, then I will open a path for all of you." Lin Fan frowned. He forgot that heaven-covering old demon hated him so much. Now that there was such a good chance, if others were willing to give up, then how would he give up? As expected, his words were useful and they really stabilized the hesitant people. If heaven-covering old demon attacked first, they would be willing to try. Damn, sh*t stick. Lin Fan cursed. These sect leaders were just a bunch of sh*t. Who knew that heaven-covering old demon was willing to be a sh*t stick? He stirred up a huge pile of sh*t and it gave off an even thicker stench. It seemed like this battle was unavoidable. "Father, what is going on with that dragon?" Lin Fan asked. Lin Wani said, "Don't count on it." Thinking about it, they were prepared to kill it and now they wanted it to work with them. Unless there was something wrong with their brains, they wouldn't agree. But to Lin Fan, he could give it a try. Bug controlling technique could control numerous bugs, but there were many different types of bugs. He was a learned person. There were 5 types of bugs. Hoe, scale, hair, feather, kuan. That dragon should be one of them. Scoff. He wasn't afraid that one's cultivation was strong, he was afraid that they were cultured. He was such a person. At that moment, the special Tao essence of the bug-controlling technique spread out and targeted the dragon. The dragon and old ancestor Zhao looked at one another. The exchange of gazes revealed many secrets that no one knew about. Such an emotional exchange shouldn't be interrupted. But suddenly, the situation wasn't right. The dragon's expression changed. At the same time, its body underwent a shocking change. Its scales turned black and its eyes gave off a black mist. Its body swelled and a terrifying aura spread out. Terrifying. Lin Fan was shocked. He didn't know the dragon, so naturally, it was impossible for him to use it. He could only use the bug-controlling technique to control it. But to control anything, one needed to consume Tao essence. When he was controlling the dragon, he realized that the amount of Tao essence he needed was just too terrifying. Not to mention each second, but each millisecond required all the Tao essence he had at Tao Realm Stage 7. The consumption was just terrifying. Who in the world could support it? Even if Insect Valley Peak experts came, if they dared to control it, their Tao essence would be sucked dry. But what a waste! Lin Fan was someone who had a small support system. He wasn't someone who liked to show off. Or rather, he was low profile. But sometimes, he couldn't be low profile even if he wanted to. Kid die. Heaven covering old demon attack. As long as he dared to attack, then things would become much simpler. To heaven covering old demon, he knew what he was going to face next. He was going to face the attacks of the father and son. But he knew that as long as he could hold on until everyone attacked, then everything wouldn't be a problem. No matter how strong they would definitely die here. Old man, if you touch my son, I will kill you. How could Lin Wani let his son be in danger? But suddenly, there was a pung. The scene in front of them left everyone dumbfounded. Lin Fan stood on the spot and didn't move. But heaven-covering old demon was smacked into the distance by some terrifying power. Amazing! Lin Fan exclaimed. He didn't expect the dragon to be so strong. Just one whip of its tail could cause such a terrifying aura. It was just so shocking. At that moment, everyone realized that the one who attacked wasn't Lin Wani or Lin Fan but the dragon that they had ignored. Is my face so worthless? Lin Wani was a little unwilling. He invited the dragon to attack, but what awaited him was disregard. He wanted to tell him that even without him, he could still fight 300 rounds with him. But now, this dragon actually attacked for his son. This was something that he didn't expect. Wait. Lin Wani realized that the dragon was a little off. Before this, it was covered in wounds, but now, there was nothing wrong with it. The key was that the color of its scales changed. He thought about a possibility. It should be the bug-controlling technique. He felt that it was unbelievable. This dragon wasn't weak, it was stronger than all of them. To use the bug-controlling technique to control this dragon was a dream. It was just impossible. How did Fan do it? It was a little terrifying. Chapter 5:16. Their mouths were agape. The experts who were waiting for heaven-covering old demon to attack were all stunned. What kind of joke was that? He didn't even touch Lin Fan and was smacked away. He even said that he was going to open up a path for them. Open up your head. He had no ability at all and was just bragging. The current situation had also taught them a lesson. As expected, that dragon was really strong. They knew that heaven-covering old demon was really strong. But now, he was actually badly injured by a tail. That was a little terrifying. Although it was a sneak attack, that wasn't important anymore. Heaven-covering old demon, since you're old, you should take care of yourself. Don't come out all day. The world belongs to the young. Apart from being old, what else can you do? Lin Fan's words were too offensive and he didn't care about them at all. To all of the powerful beings present, the words that Lin Fan had just said were extremely shameful. The world of the young? Scram. Only the bunch of old people could fight Lin Fan. As for the young, why not just let them be cannon fodder? Times were changing. Originally, only the elderly could have such a conflict, but now a young man had joined in, and even caused them to suffer a great loss. All of you have seen the situation. All of you know the situation. He can't be left alive, and today is your chance. Do you want to miss this chance and let him take you down one by one? Flame Demon Old Ancestor jumped out once more. His words made sense, and he hoped that everyone could understand the situation. If they didn't do anything, Moetian would regret it in the future. Flame Demon Old Ancestor is right. We have to kill them. The four alliances should put down their grievances and kill them. Maybe because Lin Fan was too overbearing, all the sect leaders were furious. They really put down the conflict between the four alliances and worked together to kill Lin Fan and the others. Lin Fan was really calm. It seemed like a battle was unavoidable. But all of that wasn't important anymore. Even if it was tough, he didn't fear anything. Nine Demon, be good. You will always be my favorite. Lin Fan sensed that Nine Demon didn't like the dragon. It was obvious that it felt like its position was being challenged. After Lin Fan consoled it, it became really obedient. Merge. The horned dragon turned into a beam of light and was sucked into Lin Fan's body. This kind of operation was really domineering. Controlling was one thing, but fusing was another. If there were people from Insect Valley here, they would be so terrified that they would pee their pants when they saw those scenes. With the small support system, Lin Fan was overpowered. Tao essence was limitless and could be consumed at will. There was no end to it. A blinding light covered Lin Fan. Everyone was shocked, not knowing what was going on. Immediately after, a terrifying energy burst out and filled the surroundings. What's going on? I can sense an extremely terrifying power brewing. They didn't know what had happened, but the fear in their hearts wouldn't deceive them. There was an astonishing power brewing under that light. Although they couldn't see it clearly, it was definitely terrifying. Some people frowned, feeling that this was a bit dangerous. Perhaps retreating was the wisest choice. Lin Wani was really worried and his palms were sweaty. He was worried about his son. He should have enjoyed his life, but he didn't expect that he would have to face such difficulties. This was a failure of a father to let his son live a carefree life that no one dared to offend. This was his failure as a father. Rumble. Instantly, the light that was wrapping around Lin Fan exploded as a beam of light shot up into the sky, blasting the clouds apart. Slowly, the light dissipated. Lin Fan wasn't in a good state. His body was covered in blood, and there were many wounds on his skin. Ha ha! He failed. This kid is asking for trouble. He can't handle that power at all. Everyone was delighted. They thought that something shocking would happen, but who knew that this would happen? Fan-er, what happened to you? Lin Wani was worried. He could tell that Fan-er couldn't handle the power, causing his body to crack. If this continued, the outcome would be catastrophic. Lin Fan raised his hand. Father, I am fine. Don't worry. Lin Fan was clearer than anyone else about the current situation. Just as they said, the power was too explosive. His body couldn't handle it at all, and the power was about to seep out. He didn't expect that after merging with the dragon, this would actually happen. It was too terrifying. What are you all laughing at? What is so funny? Lin Fan raised his head and looked at them coldly. He chanted to recover. The blood demon reversal technique was enough to recover all injuries. He had already cultivated to stage 4, which was the highest realm. No one in the world could do what he did. Even if Xiedao sect cultivated the blood demon reversal technique, they wouldn't be able to compare to Lin Fan. At that moment, Lin Fan's injuries were all healed. When the gloating people saw this, they were stunned and didn't understand what was going on. Gotcha! Shortly after, Lin Fan's body broke apart once more and fresh blood flowed out. This thing, Lin Fan frowned. He didn't expect it to be so violent. Even if he used the blood demon reversal technique, it was useless. In the blink of an eye, he became like this once more. Forget it, he didn't care. There was no point in paying attention to all this. He could only fight him head-on. As for the outcome, it wasn't important anymore. Father, pay attention. I am attacking first. The moment he said this, Lin Fan dashed towards the crowd and his target was the flame demon old ancestor. This old man was a cunning person and tried to sow discord. Naturally, there was no need to give him a chance. Prepare to die. Lin Fan hollered in rage. His aura was so terrifying that everyone was astonished. But this shock only lasted for a short period of time. Which one of them was a coward? All of them walked step by step from a pile of corpses to where they were today? Kill! Hong Long. Heaven and earth shook. Lin Fan's attack contained a dragon aura. Water Emperor, follow me. Su Chongsun, take care of old ancestor Zhao. We have a higher chance of winning this battle. Lin Wani said. Ha ha ha, good. Since that is the case, then I shall go crazy. Whether I live or die will be decided by the heavens. If you let me live, I will definitely thank you in the future. Water Emperor laughed and his heart burned. He had already thought about it. As long as he could live, he would say goodbye to Lin Wani. He was going to follow his son. As for him, he could just go and do whatever he wanted. The current situation was really bad for Flame Demon Old Ancestor. Kid, why do you have to stare at me? Flame Demon Old Ancestor was under huge pressure. He thought that with more people, he would be fine. But who knew that things weren't what he thought? Lin Fan was like a mad dog that bit him. He didn't care about the attacks of the people around. Because you are too arrogant. Lin Fan used the Blood Demon Reversal technique while hitting Flame Demon Old Ancestor. He could only temporarily maintain the body fusion. As for the other peak experts, they found it hard to believe that Lin Fan was so strong. Their group attacks weren't able to take him down, and he even had the ability to suppress Flame Demon Old Ancestor. One had to say that this was really terrifying. There was a scream. Flame Demon Old Ancestor's chest exploded from Lin Fan's fist. One could see his white bones and fresh blood splattered everywhere. Damn it, damn it! Flame Demon Old Ancestor hollered in rage. He used the undying body to recover, but his face was slightly ashen white. Please take out your true strength, otherwise I will end up like all of you. He knew that if this continued, the outcome would be catastrophic. Although they were working together, he could still see that they weren't fighting wholeheartedly. There were even some ulterior motives. For example, if one of them died. When that happened, it would be really beneficial for them. Lin Fan raised his hand and the ground shook. The Dao patterns were like a flood that surged forwards and pressed down. To Flame Demon Old Ancestor, this was a life-threatening thing. He paid attention to the situation around. Father, Water Emperor, and the others were held up by several peak experts. Although they weren't at a disadvantage, the people from the 4 alliances started to sneak attack. If this went on, they would definitely be in danger. How despicable! And he gradually understood one thing. When the Imperial Dynasty existed, the 4 alliances working together was enough to topple it. But why were they restricted by the Imperial Dynasty? No matter what, they didn't have the heart to work together. No one wanted to be the first to stand out. Even if Flame Demon Old Ancestor was about to be suppressed by him, there were still people who were slacking off and purposely used their killing moves. Flame Demon Old Ancestor was in danger and could be suppressed at any moment. What a pitiful bunch of people. If they didn't wipe him out, who else could? They were even worse than the Alliance. Just at that moment, Fan move aside. A furious roar spread into his ears. Lin Fan knew that it was his father's voice. He didn't even look and went up against the few experts. He tore open the dimension and stepped in, appearing where he was. Poochie! Flame demon old ancestor's body was pierced by his father's halberd. The halberd gave off a destructive aura and continued to destroy flame demon old ancestor's body. Ah! You bunch of jerks, even if I die, I won't let you off. Flame demon old ancestor hollered in rage. He knew that he had been conned. The power in his body swelled, and he wanted to self-destruct to drag everyone down with him. How could Lin Wani let flame demon old ancestor self-destruct? He suppressed him and wiped out the power in his body. There was a loud explosion. Even if flame demon old ancestor was Tao Realm Stage 7 and had an undying body, he was instantly turned to dust. Amazing! Lin Fan exclaimed. Father was really overbearing. He was good at sneak attacks and could kill someone at Stage 7 just like that. If he wanted to kill a Tao Realm Stage 7 expert, he would have to spend a lot of effort. He definitely wouldn't have been able to do it so easily. All of you so-called sect leaders, I despise your actions. Even at such a time, you are still thinking about conning people. If all of you can become successful, I will walk upside down. Lin Wani said coldly. His body was covered in injuries from the battle with the horned dragon. Even if he couldn't fight so many experts, he could still sneak attack and kill one of them. Instantly, a terrifying power struck him. Many peak experts attacked at the same time, and it was obvious that they wanted to kill his father. Lin Fan roared and instantly appeared in front of his father. He punched out fiercely. However, under the combined strength of several peak experts, his strength was slightly inferior. Fan don't panic. I am here. Lin Wani slashed with the halberd and Tao patterns roared. They merged with Lin Fan's strength and turned into a shocking current that struck forwards. Hong Long. The area shook. Dragon Island was already in pieces and the ocean surged back, swallowing everything here. Father, when father and son work together, we are invincible, Lin Fan said. Not only are we invincible, we will make them piss their pants and cry for their parents, Lin Wani said. As for the top sect experts, their expressions were really ugly. In their words, as long as they worked together, the father and son would definitely die. But they would have to pay a price, and the price would be that someone would die with them. But who really wanted to die? Chapter 5:17. They were in a stalemate. This was the only thing they could do. If not, there was really nothing they could do. The bunch of peak experts cursed in their hearts. Damn it. It was okay that Lin Wani was so strong, but who knew that the kid was so strong too? They were unable to take him down in a short time. There was even a high chance that he would be pressed to the ground and beaten up. Lin Fan felt that his own strength was terrifying. He was much stronger than before he merged with the dragon. Father, I think that we might be able to kill half of them today, Lin Fan said. His words were a little overbearing and didn't make sense at all. Even Lin Wani felt that Fan had picked up a bad habit of bragging outside. To the peak experts of the sect, they nearly spat out blood. Damn! Were the young people so arrogant now? Lin Fan was confident in his own strength. He could confidently say that these people didn't have long to live. In the near future, he would beat them up like dogs. Can all of you work harder? Now you even caused Flame Demon Old Ancestor's death. But I am curious, who will you harm next? But I have to say that all of you are from Evil Alliance, so why are you harming your own people? Is it because of hatred or because you want to occupy their sect territory? Lin Fan's words were a little vicious. He was directly pointing out the situation. He wanted them to suspect one another and no one dared to attack. No one knew who was behind all this. Lin Fan, stop trying to sow discord. Do you think that we will believe your words? An old man hollered in rage. His eyebrows were about to fly up. The current situation was very shameful to speak of. There were so many peak experts and none of them could do anything to him. That was a complete disgrace to their own identity and strength. But the truth was really awkward. When the old man spoke, he was really firm, like he was telling the truth. However, it was hard to conceal the vigilance in the eyes of the surrounding peak experts. Suddenly, in the distance, there seemed to be something smashing into the dimension and causing a huge tremor. A person appeared. He thought that more helpers had arrived, but that wasn't the case. He was in a tragic state and his body was covered in blood. Even though the scene of the battle was very intense, the other party did not show the slightest bit of fear. Sect leader, something bad has happened. The sect has been attacked, and we've suffered heavy losses. The newcomer's face was red as he roared. His voice was like a clap of thunder that exploded in the crowd. All of the peak powerful beings who were engaged in battle stopped what they were doing and turned their heads around to look at each other blankly. Then, as though they had thought of something, they looked over at Lin Fan. The person who came to inform them was an elder of a top sect in the Demon Alliance. The sect master of the Demon Alliance roared angrily. Without saying a word, he stepped into the dimension and entered it, heading towards the sect. Go back quickly, the sect has been ambushed. Bastard, this is a ploy to lure the tiger away from the mountain. Lin Fan was stunned. He could swear to the heavens that he didn't work with the Alliance headquarters. It was even hard to say whether or not the Alliance headquarters knew about this. Who were the people who had attacked the other sect? He was in a daze for a moment. Father, kill them quickly. Kill as many as you can. Lin Fan charged towards the other party. They were all in a hurry to return to the sect. But since they were already here, how could they let them leave so easily? Naturally, they had to pay a price. They are here, they are here. Lin Wani came back to his senses and knew that this was a good chance. When he turned around and looked at Water Emperor, he realized that the old fellow was panting. Water Emperor, what are you doing? Stop them. Water Emperor wanted to scold. Things had already reached such a stage, and he still had to stop them. Did he have any morals at all? But thinking about it, Lin Wani's words made sense. They were all running, so he had to stop them and make them stay here forever. Celestial Alliance Yusu was in a hurry to return to the sect. He instantly sensed a terrifying power striking him from behind. He dodged and then turned around to scold. Lin Fan, you despicable and shameless thing. He was really worried and didn't know what the outcome would be. He didn't expect that Lin Fan would really work with the Alliance headquarters and sneak attack them while they weren't in the sect. Damn. He didn't have the energy to fight Lin Fan anymore and just wanted to return to the sect right away. Stay here for this sect leader. Lin Fan was lazy to talk nonsense with him. He punched forwards with strength like that of a dragon. After merging with the dragon, it had a shocking aura. Yusu just wanted to scold him. So many people were in a hurry to go back and he just stared at him. Was there something wrong with his head? This wasn't an isolated situation. Lin Wani, don't bully me. It was tough for the peak experts that Lin Wani stared at to escape. They could only scold him to vent their anger. Lin Wani didn't expect things to turn out like this. He was really confused. Did Fan really work with the Alliance headquarters? But that might not be the case. Maybe he really told the Alliance about the plan and the Alliance headquarters seized the chance to attack the four alliances. Although this would weaken the strength of the four alliances and allow the Alliance headquarters to become stronger, all of that wasn't important anymore. There was a loud explosion. Yusu, who had been trying to escape from this place, still underestimated Lin Fan's strength. When he tried to block that fist, he realized how terrifying Lin Fan's strength was. His body was badly injured and his skin split open. Fresh blood seeped out and he cried out, "Sect leader Lin, leave us a way out. If you continue to act like this, one day you will regret it." Yusu raged. He felt like he had really seen a ghost. So many people had left, so why was he the only one left? Isn't this going too far? Lin Fan's expression was calm as he raised his hand and opened his fingers. Instantly, a gigantic dragon claw appeared and grabbed at Perfected Yusu. Damn it! Spiritual Master Yusu was shocked and had to fight back. At the same time, he was thinking about what to do. He couldn't continue like this. If everyone escaped and he was the only one left to face them, the consequences would be unimaginable. He probably wouldn't even know how he died. Spiritual Master Yusu is righteous enough to stop the enemy for us. We will definitely repay this kindness in the future. Those people who were in a rush to return to the sect saw Yusu and Lin Fan fighting for 300 rounds and immediately started to brag and praise Yusu. If he was someone who cared about his reputation, he would have no choice but to accept it. However, Perfected Yusu was not the kind of person who cared about face. No matter how ferocious Lin Fan's attacks were, he just ran. He ran faster than anyone else. He couldn't wait to leave this place. At the same time, his control wasn't ordinary either as he charged towards that group of people. There was a sense of connection. He wanted to spread the ripples and drag them in. Then, he would use the chance to escape. At this moment, Perfected Yusu's actions caused everyone to curse. Damn it. He was actually so despicable and shameless. After a long while, all of you ran fast. Lin Fan spat and was really unhappy. With his current strength, as long as they didn't run, he was confident that he could kill them. These so-called sect masters were really fast at running away. Along with them being cunning and dragging down others, it was really tough to keep them here. But he was satisfied with the current situation. He came here to help his father and the others get out of danger. Now that he had achieved his goal, everything else wasn't a problem. At this moment, Lin Fan was in deep thought. Who did it? He didn't think that someone was helping him. Someone definitely tried to take advantage of the fact that the peak experts weren't here to attack. Many sect leaders from the 4 alliances didn't come this time. One couldn't say that it was those who didn't come. But there was a possibility. Forget it, I'll let them solve these things themselves. Lin Fan walked to his father's side. Father, are you okay? His father wasn't in a good situation. When he fought the dragon, he was already injured. Then, he was surrounded by a bunch of peak experts. It was already not bad that he didn't die. I am okay. Lin Wani waved his hands and blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth. Although he was strong, he wasn't invincible. When he faced too many enemies, he would find it tough. Did you inform the Alliance headquarters? Lin Wani asked. Lin Fan shook his head. No, I asked for the location from Beast Monster Sect and rushed over right away. I didn't have time to inform others. Based on my guesses, there might be an internal problem. There is a high chance of that. The 4 alliances seem to have formed an alliance, but there is a lot of internal strife. Lin Wani said. Lin Wani felt that this matter was solved for no reason at all. But not only did he feel that it was weird, even Lin Fan felt the same. There should have been a huge battle. Who knew that such a thing would happen? At this moment, Lin Fan came into contact with the merger. Liquid seeped out from each of his pores and gathered into a ball. In the end, it formed the dragon. He removed the control of the bug controlling technique. The dragon regained its consciousness. Its huge head was a little stunned and its brain was in a mess. It couldn't recall what had happened at all. What was even weirder was that his injuries had actually recovered. His body was riddled with holes. But now, he wasn't injured at all. Lin Fan took in a deep breath and used the blood demon reversal technique to recover his body. The repercussions from merging with the dragon were huge. The bug controlling technique wasn't invincible. To merge with a truly terrifying beast, one had to pay a huge price. One might even lose their life. If people from Insect Valley saw this, they would say without hesitation, this was impossible. How could he fuse with such a terrifying horned dragon? If that was possible, That was the merging system created by numerous seniors in Insect Valley's history. Shortly after, 9 Demon appeared. 9 Demon shook its 9 heads and looked at the dragon with animosity. Its thoughts were simple. This big guy actually wanted to snatch Master from it. One day, it would teach him a lesson. Fan is this Insect Valley's bug-controlling technique? Lin Wani asked with a weird expression. A voice rang out in his heart. How could this be the bug-controlling technique? It didn't make sense at all. Although Insect Valley's bug-controlling technique was terrifying, it wasn't so terrifying to actually merge with the Zhao family dragon. Moreover, he could see that although Fan was strong, he was only at Dao Realm Stage 4. He wasn't able to use the full power of the merger. If he could use it all, those people who just came would all die here. Maybe that level of power would have reached the legendary Dao Realm Stage 8 that no one could reach. Father, this is the technique. But now is not the time. Let's take a look at old ancestor Zhao's situation, Lin Fan said. Speaking of old ancestor Zhao, Lin Wani rushed over. No matter what, even if old ancestor Zhao wasn't smart, he had to do it for the imperial dynasty. At that moment, old ancestor Zhao's injuries became worse and worse. Even if he used pills, he wasn't able to survive. His injuries were too heavy. During the battle with the dragon, his body was on the verge of shattering. Then, he was sneak attacked and his injuries became even worse. Hayes, old ancestor Zhao's name was so pitiful and he died from a sneak attack. I won't repeat the same mistake. Old ancestor Zhao, you can go in peace. Your death wasn't for nothing. Water Emperor sighed. How sad. As for those 3 traitors, they couldn't escape even if they wanted to. Water Emperor hated traitors the most. He had suppressed them long ago and would just slowly kill them. Shut up. Lin Wani stared. Old ancestor Zhao wasn't dead yet and he was hoping for him to die. Did he have any compassion at all? Lin Fan placed his palm on old ancestor Zhao's body and used the main god technique. A gentle and holy power wrapped him up and large amounts of faith power merged into his body. Very quickly, old ancestor Zhao's injuries were healing at a visible rate. Water Emperor exclaimed. How amazing! Even Lin Wani looked at Lin Fan in shock. What did his son face? He was so mysterious. If it wasn't for the feeling of being connected by blood, he would have thought that his son had been replaced by someone else. Where am I? Old ancestor Zhao opened his eyes. He was a little dazed and lost. He felt like he was wrapped up in darkness. He couldn't feel anything and he couldn't see any light at all. He thought that he had been exiled into the endless void. Where do you think you are? Water Emperor said. Lin Fan felt like he was a talent. He could resist, fight, and heal. He was an all-round talent. Just thinking about how far he would develop in the future terrified him. Kid, your scent is familiar. It was like we merged into one. Did you control my mind? The dragon looked at Lin Fan. He wasn't angry, just curious and confused. Lin Fan didn't worry about him and asked, Father, do we still need to kill this dragon? Lin Wani looked at the dragon and sized him up. If you are here, with our current situation, we can kill him. Father, if we work together, no one can block us. Lin Fan thought the same. Since he had started, naturally, he couldn't give up halfway. Are you still humans? When the dragon heard their conversation, for some reason, he couldn't help but say those words. He controlled his mind and used his strength to fight against the enemy. Now, he didn't care about him at all. That was a little too much. Of course, Lin Fan and Lin Wani were just casually saying that. There was no need to kill him anymore. No more slaughter, no more slaughter. Old ancestor Zhao recovered and he looked at the horned dragon with a guilty expression. The horned dragon was extremely strong, and because he had promised the Zhao family ancestor, he had been helping the Zhao family. Even after such a long time had passed, he had never gone back on his word. Everything that happened today was because the Zhao family let down the Dragon King. Old Ancestor Zhao, it doesn't matter whether or not we kill them. What are you prepared to do with these 3 animals? Lin Wanyi asked. He then looked at the 3 shivering Zhao Zhangtian and the others. His eyes shone with disdain and disdain. People who betrayed the family naturally had no reason to continue living. Old Ancestor Zhao looked at the 3 of them and his heart pained. He didn't expect that they were the ones who betrayed the Zhao family and nearly caused the deaths of everyone. Zhao Sun was already a piece of trash, so why would he be afraid of losing anything? He grumbled, I didn't do anything wrong. Are you looking at me like you are pitying me? Let me tell you, I don't need anyone to pity me. The Zhao family is in your hands and we can only die. You are the sinner of the Zhao family and when you die, you won't have the face to meet your ancestors. At this moment, Zhao Sun was really stubborn. Although his cultivation was trashed, he gave off the feeling that he didn't do anything wrong. But unfortunately, the Zhao family head and Zhao Zhangtian knew that they had lost. They knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. Old Ancestor, spare us, spare us. We were lied to by Zhao Sun. We really didn't think about betraying the Zhao family. Old Ancestor, please give us another chance. Zhao Sun looked at the 2 of them coldly and said in disdain, You 2 are just afraid of death. I don't want to be on the same side as you. Old Ancestor, you want to kill me but I won't let you. Only I can control my own life. I will wait for you, I will wait for you down there. Poochie. Fresh blood seeped from the corner of Zhao Sun's mouth. From the start, he was prepared to fail. Originally, he wanted to drag out an ignoble existence. But when he saw how the 2 of them begged, he gave up on his original thoughts. The 2 of you are just like dogs. Zhao Sun laughed. With a loud explosion, his body fell to the ground and he didn't move at all. Old Ancestor Zhao looked on as Zhao Sun died. He didn't do anything but his expression betrayed him. Although he was furious, his heart hurt. To the 2 of them, Zhao Sun's death didn't affect them at all. They just wanted to live. As long as they lived, there was still hope. This fellow is really decisive. He has some ability. Water Emperor gave a high evaluation of Zhao Sun's suicide. He then said, Brother Zhao, I think it is best if we kill the 2 of them. Leaving them alive is just a problem and problems might crop up in the future. To Water Emperor, this was a good show and he was really excited to watch. He had never seen a race where 3 important members wanted to kill the old ancestor. Moreover, they nearly succeeded. Just thinking about it made him feel really helpless. Old Ancestor Zhao didn't reply to Water Emperor and just said with a pained expression, I saw the 3 of you grow up and you disappoint me. Old Ancestor, please spare us. We were blinded by greed. Zhao Sun said that Old Ancestor wanted to wipe out the Zhao family, which was why we did that. Since we have done so much for the Zhao family, please let us off. The 2 of them didn't want to die. They knew that the old ancestor was someone who cared about family. Zhao Sun was trashed because he said something he shouldn't have said. He didn't kill him and allowed him to enjoy his position and power in the Zhao family. Lin Fan saw that old ancestor Zhao was hesitating and wanted to help him kill these people. Old ancestor Zhao, I think you should just kill them. If you can't bear to, I can help you, Lin Fan said. Su Changsun said, right, you should still kill them. Being soft-hearted will only harm more people. Old ancestor Zhao thought about it for a long while before turning around and closing his eyes. Let's give them a quick death. Lin Fan smiled and walked towards the 2 of them. When Zhao Zhangtian and Zhao family heads saw that the old ancestor wanted to kill them, their faces turned ashen white. They had no way out. The 2 of them went mad. We will fight you to the death. Lin Fan shook his head. These 2 really overestimated themselves. Even though their strength was at the Dao realm as well, compared to Lin Fan, the difference was way too far. Lin Fan punched out. The might of the fist engulfed the two of them. Following that, a resplendent light burst forth, incomparably dazzling. There was a loud ping. The light dissipated. 2 streaks of light appeared in the sky. How is old ancestor Zhao? They left without any pain. Lin Fan said. Old ancestor Zhao was a vicious person. He looked like he was in pain, but actually, he had a plan in his heart. Even if he was reluctant, he knew that they deserved to die. Lin Fan said, Father, this place isn't safe anymore. We should leave. I have something to tell you too. Lin Wani thought about Princess Yongla. She was a decent daughter-in-law and he was satisfied. This was why he wanted to bring Fan to take a look. What if he didn't agree? Of course he would. He had to be tied up. What about that dragon? Water Emperor asked. Lin Fan was really interested in that dragon. If it was possible, he was willing to keep it as a pet. But the usually well-behaved Nine Demon. He was a huge vinegar jar. Even now, the 18 eyes that were looking at the horned dragon were glowing with an unfriendly light. Old ancestor Zhao adjusted his emotions and walked in front of the dragon. Dragon King, Zhao family broke the promise. Dragon King won't serve Zhao family anymore. From today onwards, Dragon King can regain his freedom. Old ancestor Zhao said. The dragon looked at old ancestor Zhao and nodded. Kid Zhao, I have completed my mission. From today onwards, I am free. Zhao family's future will depend on you. Old ancestor Zhao nodded. Oi, where did you come from? Lin Fan couldn't help but be curious. He really wanted to know where this dragon came from. The dragon looked at Lin Fan and was in deep thought. I also want to know the answer to this question. I am searching for it. I hope that the next time we meet I can tell you. Lin Fan wanted to say, why don't you stay and be the pet of your sect leader? But looking at how coquettish Nine Demon was, how could Lin Fan not tell what Nine Demon was thinking? Goodbye. The dragon rose into the air, and in the blink of an eye, it disappeared. At the same time, a red light swept over from the distance. Old ancestor Zhao opened his hand and a fingernail-sized blood jade landed in his palm. Dragon King old ancestor Zhao's face was filled with guilt. He didn't expect that the Dragon King would leave something for him before he left. He knew what it was and what use it had. Then, old ancestor Zhao cupped his fists and said goodbye to everyone. He needed to return to Zhao family to reorganize and lead them away from that place. Dragon Island was exposed, and who knew whether or not Zhao family was also exposed. But just in case, he still had to be prepared. I took a loss this time. Lin Fan wasn't satisfied. There would definitely be returns from the battle, but the current situation made him feel helpless. He didn't get any returns at all. As for what happened to those sects, when he returned, he would definitely head over to take a look. Which old master did such a good thing? That was just something to celebrate. Father will bring you to where we are. Lin Wani said. Okay, father. Lin Fan nodded. To be able to find where his father was, he felt that this trip was worth it. Father was busy with reviving the imperial dynasty. His martial path mountain was developing smoothly. If nothing went wrong, he would wipe out a few top sects in a period of time. Expand the sect's influence a little bit. He headed into the distance. Water Emperor came to Lin Fan's side and said, Kid, do you lack manpower? Lin Fan smiled. Senior Water wants to follow me? Water Emperor was stunned and then smiled. Kid, this is a little shallow. We are working hard together and I have high hopes for you. You are much stronger than your father and have a bright future. Of course, if Senior is willing, Martial Path Mountain will have a spot for you. Lin Fan said. Martial Path Mountain lacked peak combat strength. Water Emperor was strong. Dao Realm Stage 7. Although he was weak in a fight, he was still motivated. Moreover, he wanted to poach all the experts by his father's side. When that happened, his father wouldn't have the energy to fight alone. Water Emperor smiled. Good, good, when no one is around, let's have a good chat. He really wanted to follow Lin Fan. He wasn't joking. After this battle, he had already seen through everything. It was obvious who had more potential at a glance. Naturally, Lin Wani didn't know what Water Emperor and Fan were talking about. In just a short while, Water Emperor wanted to betray him. Imperial Dynasty's hiding spot. Lin Fan felt that something was off. He realized that his father was anxious, like he wanted him to see something. This didn't feel good. He thought about it, but he didn't think about anything. He could only take it one step at a time. At that moment, a girl hurried over. Lin Fan noticed that his father was smiling and his heart creaked. Was this a wife that his father introduced to him? Although she was beautiful and looked young, she gave off a feeling like she was really old. Wani. The girl opened her mouth and called his father a little intimately. Father, you. Lin Fan didn't understand what was going on. Lin Wani coughed and felt a little awkward and shy. Come, let me introduce you. This is my son, Lin Fan. Fan this is your Auntie Sue. Auntie Sue? Lin Fan looked at his father with a weird expression. He was thinking about why he couldn't find his father. So, he had a beauty by his side and didn't want to leave. Hello, Auntie Sue. Lin Fan smiled. Su Liuli was delighted and pulled Lin Fan's hand. Good kid, this is the first time we are meeting, and I don't have anything good. This is something that I have kept for a long time, and I will give it to you today. In the future, when you meet a girl you like, you can give it to her. Lin Fan looked at it. It was a bracelet that looked extraordinary and contained Dao patterns. This was a Dao artifact. She was really generous. Since it was a good thing, then there was no reason not to take it. After all, his father was taken away, and as a son, he had to gain something. Thank you, Auntie Sue. Lin Fan took it. Lin Wani squinted. You unfilial kid, you really aren't polite. He then said, Liuli, your master left this for you, give it to him. So what? I like this kid the moment I see him. In the future, when Fan meets a girl he likes, he will have something to give to her. Su Liuli said. Lin Wani stared at Lin Fan and was annoyed. Your Auntie Sue gave it to you, so keep it well. Don't lose it, otherwise I will break your legs. Father, let me say something that you don't like to hear. With your current strength, it is a little tough for you to do this. Lin Fan said. You brat, Lin Wani couldn't take it anymore. He was so arrogant and dared to provoke him. Just as he was about to teach him a lesson, he noticed a gaze filled with killing intent staring at him. Su Liuli stared at Lin Wani like she was telling him to try and attack. Haze! Lin Wani was helpless. This kid is so dumb and can't be spoiled. Otherwise, he might even ascend to the heavens. At that moment, a voice spread over. Brother Lin. Prince Shaoqi hurried over when he learned that Lin Fan was here. Brother Xiao, long time no see. You look much fatter. It seems like you are living a good life. Lin Fan smiled. Shaoqi smiled. Not bad, not bad. Anyway, to Lin Fan, he didn't see anything wrong with Shaoqi. Even the destruction of the Imperial Dynasty didn't affect him at all. Haze, the Imperial Dynasty is gone just like that. Brother Xiao must be feeling really bad. Lin Fan said. Shaoqi said, It is okay, it is okay. I don't feel bad and my life is much more relaxed than before. The biggest change is that our relationship is much better. If this was in the past, I wouldn't have dared to imagine it. As a big brother, I have finally experienced the sense of existence as a big brother. However, Brother Lin, our relationship is going to be much closer. Lin Fan was confused. Brother Xiao, what do you mean? Ha ha ha, Brother Lin, my sister is going to be your wife. In the future, we will be relatives, so what else do I mean? Shaoqi smiled and said. Obviously, to Shaoqi, he was quite satisfied with marrying his sister to Lin Fan. Lin Fan looked at his father and the meaning in his eyes was obvious. He was saying that, "Father, why haven't you given up?" Lin Wani ignored Lin Fan's gaze and said, "Father is satisfied. Your Auntie Sue is satisfied too. Your mother in heaven must be satisfied too. You aren't young anymore, so starting a family is what you have to do." "Father, I am still young," Lin Fan said. Lin Wani said, "You aren't, you are already very old." Lin Fan looked at his father and touched his forehead. He had a feeling that he wouldn't be able to run away this time. It was a little amazing, a little scammed. He knew that this would happen. After dealing with Dragon Island, he should have left right away. Chapter 5:18. Lin Fan knew that he couldn't hide from it. It seemed like he could only meet her once. He trusted his father's taste. Normally, he wouldn't be interested in girls who didn't fit his worldview. Shao Qi followed at the side and tried his best to promote her. What he meant was simple. My sister has white skin and a beautiful face. I definitely won't lose out. Lin Fan looked at Shao Qi with a weird expression. Could this fellow have any conscience? He actually promoted his sister just like that. Was this something a brother should do? Lin Wani obviously knew his son's personality. He pulled him back and warned him. "Kid, listen up. If you dare to send her flying, I will beat you to death." Lin Fan was filled with disbelief. "Father, I don't believe that you will beat me to death." Lin Wani nearly couldn't breathe. Naturally, there was nothing wrong with what he said. Naturally, it was impossible. He said that to express the seriousness of the matter. He wanted him to pay attention. "Anyways, you better behave yourself." Lin Wani said that and didn't say anything else. To Lin Fan, his father's standards were getting higher and higher. In the past, she was just the daughter of the family. Now, she was the princess of the imperial dynasty. Why didn't he find someone more high-end? Very quickly, the bunch of them came to a courtyard. This was where Princess Yongla lived. Naturally, their arrival attracted the attention of many people. These people were all princes and some princesses. They had good mindsets. To them, although the imperial dynasty was gone, it didn't affect them much. They were still taken care of here, so naturally, their lives weren't a problem. "Father, I think that there is no need to make things so complicated." Lin Fan walked over and tried to instill new ideas into his father's mind. Unfortunately, it wasn't effective. Father was a stubborn person. Once he decided on something, even 10 horses wouldn't be able to pull him back. "Brother Lin, that is my sister." Shao Qi raised his hand and pointed at a person in the distance. That person stood in front of a garden. His back was facing Lin Fan and the others, and he was smelling the fragrance of the flowers. "Sister Yongla." Shao Qi shouted and told her to come over. He really hoped that Brother Lin could be together with his sister. When that happened, they would be family and things would be easier to discuss. Princess Yongla looked back and saw that her imperial brother had come, as well as her uncles. She felt quite confused and did not know what was going on. Lin Fan did not stand out in the crowd. He sized up Princess Yongla. She was indeed decent, but he had seen many decent women before. At first glance, he was sure that Princess Yongla was an honest person. For the unrestrained little white dragon that soared in the waves of the ocean, how could an honest person keep an eye on him? "Yongla greets my brother and uncles." Princess Yongla's voice was soft and gentle. She was like a fresh flower that needed protection. The more Lin Wani looked at her, the more he liked her. This was a good daughter-in-law. As for those backup daughters-in-law that he showed Fan they couldn't compare to Yongla. That's it. Even if this kid didn't agree, he had to tie him up. Lin Wani said eagerly, "Yongla, let me introduce you. This is Uncle Lin's son, Lin Fan. I brought him over for you to take a look at. Are you satisfied?" Princess Yongla looked at Lin Fan carefully and instantly her face turned red. Her voice was so soft, I will follow Uncle's decision. Although her voice was soft, Lin Wani heard it clearly. He laughed out loud. Good, that's good. Princess Yongla, this is the first time we are meeting, so we have to think it through. Moreover, one has to be self-aware and have the desire to pursue happiness. An arranged marriage won't bring happiness. Don't be afraid, just say it directly. Do you like it? If you don't, it is okay. Lin Fan opened his mouth and tried to brainwash her to let her have her own thoughts. Instantly, he noticed that his father's gaze was filled with killing intent. It was obvious that he was angered by his words. In Lin Wani's words, he had finally found a wife for him and now he was talking like that. If not for there being so many people here, he would have slapped him to death. Yongla likes it. Princess Yongla's face was so red that it was about to turn red. She didn't dare to look at Lin Fan in the eyes. Lin Fan was helpless. This evil society. But this is the first time we are meeting, and you don't even know what kind of person I am and you like me. That is just too fake. Love isn't a business. It needs time to develop, so, Lin Fan said nonstop. But suddenly, he realized that the situation wasn't right. Princess Yongla's originally red face turned ashen white and tears started to fall from her eyes. Uncles, Yongla has been rude. The moment he said this, Princess Yongla turned around and her body twitched. She then ran into the distance. Lin Fan felt awkward. He realized that everyone was looking at him differently. It isn't what you think. I didn't say anything at all. I will beat you to death, you unfilial kid. Lin Wani couldn't help but raise his hand. He didn't say a word and just wanted to teach this kid a lesson. When Water Emperor saw this, he couldn't take it anymore. In the future, he was going to follow this kid and had to do something to gain some affection points. Brother Lin, what are you doing? Stop, stop. Water Emperor hugged Lin Wani's back. Don't be rash. Let go. Lin Wani hollered in rage. You brat, I spent so much effort on your marriage and you actually ruined it. Today, I will teach you a lesson. Prince Shaoqi raged. Brother Lin, I was wrong about you. I thought that you were a man but I didn't expect you to bully my sister. I am going to ignore you. Instantly. The entire place was in a mess. Lin Wani scolded. Water Emperor tried to persuade him. Lin Wani, shut up. Just at that moment, Auntie Sue stood beside Lin Wani and scolded. Her voice caused Lin Wani to calm down. His face turned red from the scolding, but now he was really calm. Su Changsun gloated. It was a wise choice to bring his daughter over. He finally managed to turn the tables. Lin Wani looked at Lin Fan and raised his finger like he was saying that this kid was really skilled, and he had nothing to say. Fan you are in the wrong. Auntie Sue walked in front of Lin Fan and tried to persuade him. Yongla is a decent girl. Your words are too hurtful, especially for Yongla. You and her are just going through the wedding ceremony. Aren't you just looking down on her by saying all this? Auntie Sue, I didn't say that. Lin Fan said. He didn't say anything too much and just tried to persuade her not to be rash. Some things had to be felt with one's heart. Auntie Sue, we have to be willing. Without a relationship, it will be easy to break and she won't be happy in the future. Lin Fan said. Auntie Sue said, Fan I understand the words you said, but when they are put together, I don't understand. But forget it, it is normal for young people to be rash. But you have to consider other people's feelings. Yongla is a pitiful kid and your words are a huge blow to her. Listen to Auntie Sue and coax Yongla. Lin Fan sighed. Just what in the world was going on? Hayes, okay. Since Auntie Sue said that, then I will coax her. But it has nothing to do with me. I am a short-tempered person. Okay, go. Auntie Sue has high hopes for you. Su Liuli said. Lin Fan shook his head. He had no choice. He wanted to be an emotionless sect leader, but his father made him one. Wasn't that just making him fall? Maybe he was just too outstanding. This was Princess Yongla's backyard, and because of this incident, Princess Yongla naturally ran to another place. Wani, Fan is really similar to you, Su Liuli said. Lin Wani was annoyed. Similar to me? It would be great if he was like me. Look at him now, he doesn't have any mature thoughts. If he was like me, he would have. Like he thought about something. Lin Wani kept quiet. Su Liuli asked curiously, what? Nothing. Lin Wani shook his head like he didn't know anything. In the distance, Princess Yongla laid on the stone table and felt sad. Lin Fan stood in the distance and looked at that exquisite back view. She was indeed not bad. What a beast. She was so sad, and he actually had the mood to size up her body. He was just heartless. How should I coax her? Lin Fan touched his chin and thought about it. That was a problem. Anyways, he had to settle things here and leave. This place was too dangerous, and his father was staring at him aggressively. Forget it. He would just take one step at a time. Are you sad? Lin Fan stood quietly behind Yongla. Wasn't that nonsense? If she wasn't sad, she could cry. Yongla was really sad. When she heard the voice behind her, she stood up right away and wiped her tears with her back facing Lin Fan. She turned around and lowered her head. No. Lin Fan thought about it. What should he say next? Cough, cough. What I said wasn't what you think. Do you understand? Lin Fan said. He had to explain. At the same time, he felt like he had to find a chance to tell her that it was impossible for them to be together. Whatever you say, Princess Yongla replied. Till now, she didn't dare to look at Lin Fan. To Princess Yongla, she was really nervous. She felt like her future husband was a really serious person. Lin Fan sucked in a deep breath. He had already become her husband, and she was so sure that he was the one. As expected, he was an outstanding person and was welcomed everywhere. Why are you sure that I am the one? I don't think I am that outstanding, Lin Fan asked. What he meant was that he was asking whether or not he was an outstanding person, which was why he was so crazy about him. Princess Yongla said, when father was here, he agreed to this marriage, and so did Uncle Lin. From now onwards, I will be a part of the Lin family. If you don't agree, then I must have done something wrong. I will change. Lin Fan blinked and felt helpless. He really wanted to say it. Big sister, you are a princess. Although the imperial dynasty was gone, no matter what, your identity as a princess still existed. Now that you said it so directly, how was he supposed to reply? This is for you. Lin Fan took out the bracelet that Auntie Sue gave him and passed it to her. This was a Dao artifact, and he had no use for it. It was better to leave it here. If anything happened, he would be able to protect himself. When Yongla saw the bracelet, her expression changed. She covered her mouth and her eyes turned red once more. This is tough. Lin Fan shook his head and waved his hands. He left right away. As for what happened next, it had nothing to do with him. To Princess Yongla, it was tough for her to calm down. She knew what the bracelet was. It was Auntie Sue's bracelet. Lin Fan was prepared to leave tomorrow. After the Dragon Island battle ended, the sect leaders rushed back to their sections. Some of them heaved a sigh of relief. However, there were some who flew into a rage. When they returned to the sect, they found that the sect had been destroyed into ruins. Countless disciples were wailing and screaming in the ruins. Some of the elders even died in the sect. Who did it? Who did it? Those disciples who survived didn't know who did it. The person who came covered his face and didn't say a single word from start to finish. He just came to the sect and started a massacre. He killed everyone he saw and even moved the sect treasury away. He was just like a bandit. The sect leaders whose sects were destroyed only had one thought in their hearts, which was that Lin Fan was working with the Alliance headquarters to leak the news that they weren't in their sections. After they left, the Alliance headquarters attacked. That had to be the case. Because of Lin Fan's casually slandering words, the Alliance headquarters became the scapegoat. If the Alliance found out about this, they would probably spit out blood. Damn. Even if you wanted to frame someone, you shouldn't have done that. That was just too much. Sects in the 4 alliances were destroyed, but most of them were fine. It was obvious that the Alliance headquarters had limited experts, which was why they weren't able to wipe them all out. Buddha Alliance and Celestial Alliance had a joint meeting. They were discussing this matter. Guyuan and Su Yuanming looked at one another. The glow in their eyes was really hidden, but it was obvious what they were trying to say. The two of them were like *T stirrers in Buddha Alliance and Celestial Alliance, stirring up a whole pot of *T. The meeting room was in chaos. They were all discussing about the destruction of their sections. Some of the grandmasters were rejoicing over the fact that their sects had been destroyed. If their sects had been destroyed as well, they might even have the heart to kill themselves. Guyuan and Su Yuanming sat there and looked at the clown sect leaders. At that moment a sect leader raged, "We can't tolerate this. We have to teach them a lesson." Right, we have to teach them a lesson. My son is still a kid. When I saw him being squashed by a stone, my heart hurt so much that I couldn't breathe. That was just too cruel. Master Guyuan started to chant. "Thank you, Master Guyuan, for helping my son." The sect leader whose son died said gratefully. "The dead can't be revived. My condolences." Guyuan's expression didn't change. Of course, he doubted the abilities of these people. So many peak experts went to kill Lin Wani and the others, but they weren't even able to kill him. They even lost some of their experts. That was just so embarrassing. The current situation was good. They had weakened the strength of the 4 alliances. Now that such a thing happened, they could be weakened further. Fight, the fiercer the battle, the better. It would be best if all of them died. But the following situation was a little off. Right, the Alliance headquarters are bullies. They suppressed us while we weren't in our sections. We can't take it anymore and we have to make them pay the price. Damn Alliance headquarters. Guyuan laughed to himself. But when he heard that they tossed this matter to the Alliance headquarters, he was shocked. Damn. What was going on? What did this have to do with the Alliance headquarters? It had nothing to do with them at all. We did all of this to stir up the conflict between the 4 alliances. We wanted all of you to fight to the death, and then we would reap the benefits. But now, they said that the Alliance headquarters did it. One had to say that their actions were a little overbearing. One had to respect them and also felt like they were idiot. Guys, are you sure that the Alliance headquarters did this? Guyuan felt like he couldn't sit still and not do anything. He had to ask about it. Apart from the Alliance headquarters, who else could it be? A sect leader raged. He was the victim. They didn't succeed in killing Lin Wani and the others, and he was annoyed. When he returned to the sect and saw that it was in ruins, his heart was dripping blood. The heavens were blind. They didn't even protect such a loving sect. Guyuan didn't want to toss this matter to the Alliance headquarters. Otherwise, with the current situation of the 4 alliances, they would at most scold them. As for attacking, that was impossible. The Alliance headquarters didn't know about this, so how did they find out? Did people from Evil Alliance and Monster Alliance grab this chance to take action? Guyuan asked. Lin Fan said it. He found out about our whereabouts from Beast Monster Sect, and then informed the Alliance headquarters. How despicable, I really want to rip him to shreds. The sect leader, who was furious, had flames burning in his eyes. How infuriating. Guyuan felt really stifled. How did this happen? His true goal was to cause a war between the 4 alliances. How did this kid spoil it? Su Yuanming frowned. He didn't expect things to turn out like this. Guyuan said, "No, Beast Monster Sect needs some time to get to the Alliance headquarters." He asked for the location from Beast Monster Sect, and then had to send the news back. That would take a long time, and he might not be able to make it in time. Guyuan, why does it sound like you want to help the Alliance headquarters? How could he not make it in time? If not, then how would Lin Fan know that our sects would be destroyed? Some sect leaders were on the verge of collapsing. They were already sure that the Alliance headquarters did it. Master Guiyuan kept trying to help the Alliance headquarters, and that annoyed him. Su Yuanming shook his head at Guiyuan and hoped that he wouldn't say anything more. There was no point in saying anything more. It might even make people suspicious. Damn. A monk didn't curse. But at such a moment, Guiyuan was cursing deep down. Such a good thing was spoiled just like that. The next day, Lin Fan pushed open the door and was shocked by the person standing there. Who had come so early in the morning? It was Princess Yongla. She carried things to wash up and breakfast and had been waiting for a long time. When Lin Fan saw this, he didn't know what to say. What a hard-working girl. After that, he didn't say anything else and accepted it calmly. If not, there would be another misunderstanding, and that would be pointless. Princess Yongla was the princess of the previous imperial dynasty. In the past, she lived a luxurious life. She had food to eat and clothes to wear. How could she take care of other people's lives? But now, everything she did, she perfectly fulfilled the definition of a little wife. When Lin Fan met his father, the smile on his face was much brighter, and the way he looked at Lin Fan was much gentler. When Lin Wani saw the bracelet on Yongla's wife's wrist, he smiled like a flower. He didn't expect the kid to be so cunning. He said that he didn't want it. But in terms of actions, he was really honest. Brother Lin, I was too rash yesterday. I apologize to you. Xiao Qi was in a good mood. Brother Lin was really mischievous. He saw that his sister was beautiful and liked her, but he still said such words. Haha, Brother Xiao, why do you have to do that? It is just a small matter. I didn't even care about it. Lin Fan said. Auntie Su was really happy. She had high hopes for Yongla. She had her own opinions and knew her place. She wasn't ambitious and didn't have any bad thoughts. She was just a normal girl. Naturally, she knew that Lin Fan was strong and was a peak expert. Especially since he had such achievements at such a young age, his future was limitless. However, it was precisely because he was such an expert that he needed a stable wife. He wasn't someone who just wanted to pursue the martial path. It wasn't like she hadn't seen this kind of partner who pursued martial arts together, but the final outcome was very bad. It could be said that it was extremely miserable. They could betray everyone for the martial path. Even the closest people were the same. Father, I should go, Lin Fan said. Lin Wani was stunned. How long have you been here and you are in such a rush to go back? Lin Fan said, I have no choice. Someone needs to take care of Martial Path Mountain, so I can't not return for a long time. Lin Wani frowned. His thoughts were simple, which was to hope that the unfilial kid could stay for a period of time. Simply consummate the marriage. That request shouldn't be too much, right? But looking at the situation, that was impossible. Okay, I will accompany you to Martial Path Mountain to take a look, Lin Wani said. He had to understand where this unfilial kid was. If not, this kid would disappear in the blink of an eye and it would be tough to find him. Lin Fan looked at his father and a weird feeling appeared in his eyes. Why? Can't I go take a look? Lin Wani asked. Lin Fan said, No, how is that possible? Then let's go. Who knows how Martial Path Mountain is like? Naturally, Water Emperor had to go too. He had to stay on Martial Path Mountain. As for the former Imperial Dynasty, forget it. There was no hope. In his words, although Water Emperor was weak, he was really motivated. You pulled him out to restore the glory of the Imperial Dynasty, but you didn't make any progress at all. That was just so frustrating. He couldn't just slack here every day, right? So, when he saw Lin Fan, he made his mind up. He had to work with him. Other people were just unreliable. Su Changsun didn't follow. He just stayed here in case anything happened. Lin Fan and the others left until they disappeared into the distance. Only then did Yongle dare to walk out from afar. She raised her head and looked into the distance with a stunned expression. Yongle, I don't have much to say to you. I just want you to remember that you have to endure loneliness. Sometimes, waiting is also a choice. You should know that the person you married won't come back before he completes some things, said Sulili. Yongle nodded. Thank you for your advice. I will remember it. If I marry a chicken, I will follow the chicken. If I marry a dog, I will follow the dog. I will continue to wait. Sulili touched her head and smiled. What a good kid. But she knew that Lin Fan didn't have any feelings for Yongle. But sometimes, feelings weren't important. What was important was stability. Living was something to rely on. No wonder they said that this kid was dumb. He really was dumb. But this kid was just so annoying. He gave away the bracelet just like that. Was he being generous, or was he just casually giving it away? Or did he not know what the bracelet represented? Marshall Path Mountain. Lin Wani said with a weird expression, Kid, you are not bad. You actually managed to stand firm. Father, what are you talking about? Given your child's strength right now, isn't it a simple matter for me to stand firm? This entire area of 10,000 miles is your child's territory. I've swept through countless sects and beaten them up so badly that they don't even dare to turn back. Of course, this wasn't much. His goal was simple, to occupy all the land. To make those top sects bow down to him. No, to split them up and make them disappear from the world. I called you fat, but you are still panting. Be careful. If you develop too much, those top sects won't let you off. Lin Wani couldn't stand how arrogant this kid was. He was even more arrogant than when he was young. But there was no comparison. Thinking about his achievements when he was young, compared to this kid, it was like playing with mud. Lin Fan squinted. Top sects? One day, I will make those top sects retreat when they hear my name. They won't dare to fight with me. When they see me, they will kneel down and welcome me. Brag. Lin Wani stared. He didn't learn the good things and only learned the bad things. He was bragging so much that he nearly believed him. Very quickly, Lin Fan and the others entered Marshall Path Mountain. Master Lin. Zhu Shen saw Lin Wani right away and was really excited. Even if he turned into a pig, he couldn't hide his majesty. Lin Wani felt a little guilty towards Zhu Shen. If not for the U-City matter, then this wouldn't have happened. Zhu Shen could sense Master Lin's guilt, but he didn't feel much about it. The pig body was decent and he felt that it had changed. It was a change in the bloodline. When Zhang Tianshan and Zhao Lishan saw Lin Wani, they were really excited. After all, they hadn't seen each other in a long time. Lin Wani didn't expect that the kid would actually gather so many people. He was a little surprised and a little shocked. But more than that, he felt happy. Looking at the situation, he didn't mess around. With these reliable brothers helping him, he was at ease. But what shocked Lin Wani was Go Zi. In U-City, Go Zi took care of the kid. He thought that after so many things, even if Go Zi didn't die, he would be chased away by the kid. After all, what he was going to face wasn't something normal people could face. Who knew that Go Zi was the one taking care of Lin Fan? Old Master. Go Zi was really careful when he saw Lin Wani. And not bad. Lin Wani patted Go Zi's shoulder and praised. But instantly he was shocked. It wasn't because he saw who it was but because he realized that Go Zi's cultivation had actually reached Dao Realm Stage 3. How was that possible? To Lin Wani, this was an earth-shattering change. He was stunned. Go Zi saw that Old Master was stunned and understood something. Old Master, this is all because of Young Master. Lin Wani came back to his senses and looked at Go Zi. He nodded his head and was thinking about how the kid did it. Even Go Zi's cultivation rose to such a realm. If other people found out, it would definitely cause a huge impact. Father, since you are here, then take a look around. I have developed Marshall Path Mountain well, and we have the foundations of a top sect. Lin Fan said. This was a rather modest statement. Actually, not only did they have the foundations of a top sect, but they really had the strength to fight against them. At that moment, under Lin Fan's lead, Lin Wani nodded his head. It was obvious that he recognized Fan Er's achievements, but suddenly the situation was a little off. He saw someone who shouldn't be here. The divinator was observing the changes in the sky and felt a pair of eyes looking at him. He turned his head, and when he saw that it was Lin Wani, he didn't feel awkward at all. Instead, he smiled. "Brother Lin, I didn't expect that we would meet again so quickly." The divinator smiled and walked over. He looked at Lin Wani's destiny right away and was astonished. As expected, it was extremely terrifying. This wasn't because Lin Wani was terrifying, but because sect leader Lin's luck was just too terrifying. He really changed his destiny. If other people wanted to do that, naturally they would have to pay a huge price. But to him, sect leader Lin was as simple as drinking water. Amazing. Lin Wani had nothing to say. He was impressed by the divinator, and at the same time, his heart suffered a huge blow. He personally invited the divinator to help the imperial dynasty. On the other hand, the divinator acted like he was tired of the conflicts of the world, and he just wanted to live in seclusion in the forest and live a peaceful life. Lin Wani respected his choice. But what was going on now? What about hiding in the forest? What about not fighting in the world? Who would believe him? Brother Lin, your words aren't right. Sect leader Lin is not normal, he is not normal. The divinator praised. When he said that he was not normal, his expression was one of respect. Water Emperor walked beside the divinator and said softly, "You old thing, did you notice something long ago?" The divinator smiled. "Brother Water Emperor, it isn't too late for you to come now." Although he didn't say it so directly. But the Water Emperor understood what he meant. He would follow young Master Lin, and he would have a bright future. Water Emperor was in a good mood and was at ease. To Lin Wani, he was a little unhappy. Was this unfilial kid so popular? He personally visited him to ask for help, but he didn't even bother. Who knew that he would go to this kid's side? Even if he was his son, it still made him feel bad. Fan what are you prepared to do in the future? Lin Wani asked. At the same time, he wanted to know Fan Er's true thoughts. Lin Fan said, "Naturally, I will wipe out all the sections. From now on, only Martial Path Mountain will exist." You want to replace the Imperial Dynasty? Lin Wani hesitated. If Fan really wanted to become the Imperial Dynasty, then what should he do? Should he support him or not? Lin Fan smiled. "This has nothing to do with me. I just want Martial Path Mountain to exist. Whether or not the Imperial Dynasty exists has nothing to do with me." The divinator said, "Brother Lin, you have to be optimistic about some things. The luck of the Imperial Dynasty has dissipated and we can't force it. A new era has arrived. Haven't you noticed?" Lin Wani glanced at the divinator and didn't bother about him. In his heart, he was still filled with hatred. A brother's words make sense. Water Emperor revealed his thoughts of betrayal and hoped to give Brother Lin some hints in case Brother Lin felt betrayed, and his heart hurt so much that he couldn't breathe. Lin Wani looked at Water Emperor and then at the divinator. He had a bad feeling. That night, within the room. "Brother Lin, I am sorry. I won't be accompanying all of you to restore the Imperial Dynasty," Water Emperor said directly. Lin Wani sucked in a deep breath. "I knew that you were rebellious." The divinator said, "Brother Lin, Water Emperor's choice is correct. You must believe me. The Imperial Dynasty is impossible. Your son's luck is so thick that it is 100 times, 1,000 times more terrifying than the Imperial Dynasty. Don't talk about luck. I only believe that man can beat the heavens," Lin Wani said. The divinator said, "Man can beat the heavens, but luck is something that even the heavens can't control. So what if he beats the heavens?" What did this kid feed all of you for all of you to praise him so much? Lin Wani knew that he couldn't win against the divinator, so he didn't linger about luck. The divinator said, "He is really lucky." Lin Wani raised his hand. "Okay, let's not talk about this. This is your choice. I don't believe that I can restore the imperial dynasty to glory." "Brother Lin, it isn't impossible to restore the imperial dynasty. I have an idea," the divinator said. "Speak, what is it?" Lin Wani asked. Was the divinator stunned by his aura and had a change of heart? "Follow sect leader Lin, and it won't be a problem," the divinator said seriously. Scram. Lin Wani thought that the divinator would have a good idea, but he didn't expect that to be the case. The divinator shrugged helplessly. If that was the case, then there was really nothing he could do. The night wasn't peaceful. Lin Wani laid there and tossed and turned. The moment he closed his eyes, the words that the divinator said echoed in his mind. His head was swollen. The next day, Lin Wani didn't stay for long and left alone. Water Emperor waved his hands. "Brother Lin, when I have time, I will visit you." Water Emperor stayed on Marshall Path Mountain. Marshall Path Mountain had one more person at the peak. Lin Wani didn't even turn his head and left right away. He made up his mind to work hard and no matter what, he had to restore the imperial dynasty. He didn't do it for anything else but to fight for pride. How could he not be as strong as that kid? "Nephew Lin, what will be my position in the sect in the future?" Water Emperor smiled and asked. Lin Fan frowned. "There is a problem with the way you address me. Think about it." How would Water Emperor know what he meant? He wanted to jump up and argue, but when he thought about how the divinator was willing to stay here, what else could he say? He didn't even need to use his brain to think about it. "Hee, sect leader Lin," Water Emperor called out. Lin Fan nodded his head in satisfaction. "In the future, you will be like the divinator." "Okay, no problem." Water Emperor was delighted. The divinator was so amazing and naturally, his position in the sect wouldn't be low. So be it. That was a good choice. The divinator looked at Water Emperor and shook his head. They were the same and he was still smiling. What was so funny about that? During this period of time, something serious happened in the four alliances. Based on what Guyuan thought, the four alliances would at most scold the alliance headquarters and wouldn't do anything. On this point, he had indeed guessed correctly. Those who didn't do anything meant that their sects weren't destroyed. But to those sect leaders whose sects were destroyed, they only had one goal, which was to take revenge on the alliance headquarters. Thus, for the first time, those people worked together to take revenge on the alliance headquarters. This was something that Guyuan didn't expect. "Brother Guyuan, this matter is complicated," Su Yuanming said. Guyuan thought about it for a long while and then said viciously, "That kid spoiled our plan. Who knew that the heavens would help him and point the problem at the alliance? But that is good too. If those people fight with the alliance headquarters and both sides suffer heavy losses, it will be beneficial for our future plans." Su Yuanming was terrified by Guyuan's plan. This was a bold plan. If he was not careful, he would be doomed. But as he got deeper into it, he realized that it was feasible. At the same time, they were really ambitious. Not only did they want to occupy the four alliances, but they also wanted to control the alliance headquarters. Alliance headquarters. The commander frowned. He had already found out about the situation with the four alliances. They didn't succeed in killing Lin Wani and their lair was stolen. Moreover, that person even pushed the blame to the alliance. Who was the one who did it? The commander felt that there was an unknown and mysterious power hiding in the dark. It was like a poisonous snake staring at them. As long as they were weak, they would be bitten. Zhu Daoshan and Wu Zhiga hadn't been rehabilitated. Although they could be used, they couldn't do so openly. Otherwise, the alliance's position in the hearts of the people would be greatly reduced. "It seems like I have to have a good talk with the four alliances." The commander was prepared to appear and negotiate with them. At the same time, he told them that this wasn't done by the Alliance. Some wars were necessary, but some shouldn't have happened at all, especially when someone was purposely framing them. No matter what the outcome was, it would only make the despicable person in the dark laugh. Then, the commander summoned a 9-star general and told him to bring a personally written letter to the 4 alliances. This matter was a secret. It definitely couldn't be leaked. General Yu, you have to send this letter to the 4 alliances. The commander said. Don't worry, I will definitely complete the mission. General Yu said firmly. This was a secret mission that the commander gave him. He was really excited and no matter what, he had to complete it. How could he fail? Very quickly, General Yu left the alliance. But in the dark, someone looked on as General Yu slowly disappeared into the darkness. Chapter 519. Zhenming didn't need to hide. He had always been so righteous and would only occasionally hide in the darkness. As a Hell Mountain higher-up, he could move freely and knew a lot of inside information. Hell Mountain and the Alliance headquarters worked together to occupy Richland, which was why Hell Mountain was able to gain a stable footing there. He also suggested several strategies and perfectly helped Hell Mountain expand. This was why his position in Hell Mountain naturally rose. The 4 alliances suffered heavy losses, and they think that it was done by the Alliance headquarters. Just now, General Yu snuck away. He was definitely ordered by the commander to explain this matter to the 4 alliances. Zhenming thought about it for a long while. He didn't think that the commander wanted to start a war with the 4 alliances. If they were at their peak, naturally, the Alliance headquarters wouldn't fear anyone. But the situation now was different. The 2 strongest 9-star generals couldn't appear and the Alliance suffered heavy losses in terms of peak combat strength. Naturally, they weren't able to fight against the 4 alliances. Zhenming's guess was right. General Yu was indeed ordered by the commander to take over from the 4 alliances. What should I do? Zhenming was in deep thought. He thought about all sorts of possibilities. It was a good idea to drag Zhu Daoshan and Wu Zhiga down, but it was too difficult. If he wasn't careful, he wouldn't be able to save himself. Moreover, the 2 strongest 9-star generals might not be so stupid and not be able to see the problem. Zhenming followed General Yu, but he didn't dare to get too close. In the entire Alliance headquarters, the commander was the most careful person. Sometimes he would be able to think of things that Yu didn't. In a certain hidden area, the commander looked at General Yu. He had been observing the surrounding situation and hoped that he could pull out the enemy who was hiding in the dark. The enemy wanted to break the unity of the Alliance headquarters, so naturally, he wouldn't give up on any chance. He looked on for a long while. The commander frowned. Nothing happened. Was he thinking too much? At that moment, Zhenming's hair stood on its end. An expert's aura covered the area. Luckily, he was smart enough and didn't get too close. At the same time, he mixed in as a normal person and didn't attract any attention. Otherwise, with the commander's strength, as long as he noticed him, he would definitely die. If Lin Fan saw Zhenming's shocking actions, he would have shut himself up. Why were other people able to think so much but he couldn't? The land of abundance. At the border between Celestial Alliance and Evil Alliance, General Yu hid his aura and headed towards the main camp of Celestial Alliance. He looked calm, but he was actually panicking. This mission looked simple, but it was actually really dangerous. Although he was just sending a letter, with the current situation, there was a high chance that he would be killed by the people from the 4 alliances. Suddenly, he felt an astonishing power coming from the dimension. Marshal Yu was shocked. Someone wanted to fuck him. If Zhenming didn't attack, then it would be too late. Even though there was a gap between him and Marshal Yu. But no matter what, he had to attack. Even if he had to risk his life, he had to kill General Yu here. Although he was a higher-up in Hell Mountain, he didn't trust anyone. Who dares to sneak attack me? General Yu was furious. Was it someone from the Four Alliances? But that was impossible. His movements were stealthy and did not attract any attention at all. How could he be discovered? Zhenming didn't say a word. Each time he attacked, he would use his strongest attack. He knew that if this dragged on, he would just be asking for death. Was Temple Back Mountain. Yu Yunmeng, who should have died a long time ago, was still standing there. Yunmeng, I know that you are reluctant, but you must know that he is an evil demon from Hell Mountain. He has killed many people and his hands are stained with many innocent lives. This is the only way for him to redeem himself, so you can't be soft. Miaozhen said. Yu Yunmeng said, Don't worry, Master, I understand. When I first saw him, I knew that his background was unknown and that he was really evil. After we interacted, he didn't hide anything from me and told me that he was a higher-up in Hell Mountain. He wants to follow me to the ends of the world and hide in the mountains. I can sense his love for me, which is why I discussed a plan with you. I faked my death to let him take revenge on the Alliance. I just don't know what the situation is like now. Miaozhen was really happy. Yunmeng satisfied her and she could be at ease leaving Was Temple to her. I don't know the exact situation, but I have found out that he has returned to Hell Mountain, and maybe he has started to attack the Alliance. Elmar, everything you've done has made me very happy. Yu Yunmeng said, It is all because Master has taught me well. Miaozhen smiled. Her eyes were filled with memories. Maybe she was thinking back to when she was young and had a fool in her hand. She was really satisfied with her disciple. She was good at acting, pure and kind. This was a weapon that most men in the world couldn't block. Even evil people could slowly change. Especially those who were filled with evil energy. Once their hearts were opened and they lost their only hope, they would turn into a vengeful maniac that everyone feared. At the border of the two alliances. Zhenming, you are Zhenming, you actually dare to kill me. General Yu spat out mouthfuls of fresh blood. He raised his hand and took off the mask on Zhenming's face. The moment he took off the mask, fresh blood flowed down like a flood. A maniacal expression appeared on Zhenming's face and he slapped down. Don't! Marshal Yu shouted in fear. With a pung, General Yu's body collapsed and his organs broke. The breath he had just taken was gone. Who? Zhenming panted heavily. His body was riddled with holes and there were many bloody holes on his body. As expected, I nearly died. After Zhenming calmed down, he found the letter from General Yu. He opened it and after reading the contents, he smiled. Next, it was the most important moment. He didn't need both sides to believe him. As long as one side believed him, his goal would have been achieved. Beast Monster Sect ruins. A person appeared in the sky. I was in a rush last time and forgot to harvest. No matter what, Beast Monster Sect is a top sect. Lin Fan looked at the situation below and his head hurt. Everything was in ruins and the good things were buried underground. It seemed like he had to be a laborer once more. He had already cultivated all the Dao realm cultivation techniques he had. He had to find some newer ones. Water Emperor and the Divinator definitely had Dao realm techniques too. When he returned, he had to ask them to selflessly hand them over and exchange them. Lin Fan floated above the ruins for a long while. With a thought, numerous pieces of stone floated in the air. He scanned each area with his senses. After confirming that there was nothing, those floating pieces of stone seemed to have been struck by some sort of power. They turned to dust and disappeared from the world. Not long later. I found it. Many techniques floated up from the ground and circled around Lin Fan. He then picked out the Dao Realm technique. Not bad. Beast Monster Sect had a total of 20 Dao Realm technique. As for the other techniques, they weren't that interesting. Lin Fan wanted to see whether or not there were any Dao artifacts. But he flipped the entire ruins and didn't find any. Maybe Beast Monster Sect didn't have any, or maybe the Dao artifacts left to find a new owner. A few days later. Martial Path Mountain. What did you say? The four alliances are at war with the alliance headquarters? Lin Fan was shocked. He was shocked by what the four alliances were doing. Why did they suddenly start a war with the alliance? If this was in the past, the alliance headquarters wouldn't even have a chance. They might not even be able to defend their own territory. Zhu Shen said, who knows what the four alliances ate? They actually uprooted the alliance divisions and killed everyone. They didn't leave a single one alive. It was really intense and dealt a heavy blow to the alliance headquarters. Ha ha, that is a good thing. Maybe I can join in. Lin Fan was interested. Was he right? The alliance headquarters really attacked and wiped out those top sects? This was why the four alliances were taking revenge. Zhu Shen said anxiously, Young Master Lin, the situation is really chaotic. We can't be careless. They said that the four alliances were fighting back against the alliance headquarters, but they weren't united and often clashed with one another in the dark. The more chaotic it is, the better. I will head forwards to take a look. If it isn't enough, then I will add some firewood for them. Lin Fan felt like he had to grab hold of this chance and earn a bunch of rage points. Sect Leader Lin, do you need my help? Water Emperor asked. He thought that he was like the divinator, either a deputy sect leader or an elder. Who knew that he wasn't even a disciple and was just an external member? That was a little too much. But forget it. So be it, at least he could have a good relationship with sect leader Lin, right? You. Lin Fan took a look. He didn't like being a third wheel, forget it. Just stay in Martial Path Mountain and don't let people try to take advantage of you. After what happened to the top sects, he was really afraid that something like that would happen to Martial Path Mountain. Now that there were peak experts defending, it would be hard for such a situation to happen. What a waste, I wanted to show off my strength. Water Emperor said regretfully. Lin Fan called out. 9 demons stood on his shoulder and left Martial Path Mountain. Alliance headquarters. Damn, these damn things. The commander was furious. Rage exploded out and the surrounding temperature became really high. There weren't many 9-star generals in the meeting room as most of them were sent out to defend against the 4 alliances. Commander, the 4 alliances are asking to die. Our alliance has never offended them, and not only did they kill General Yu, but they even dared to attack. The 9-star generals discussed and condemned the actions of the 4 alliances. Who is framing the alliance? The commander knew that this matter wasn't as simple as he thought. He sent General Yu out to carry out a mission in secret and no one knew about it. In the end, General Yu's corpse was sent back. He personally went to take a look. The letter wasn't there, which meant that someone had gotten it. But there was another letter. It was written by the 4 alliances and the general meaning was clear. They would definitely strike the alliance headquarters. The commander knew that it was fake. But so what if he knew? Who knew what the bastard hiding in the dark had sent to the 4 alliances? Alliance, a manor. Zhu Daoshan frowned. He had received news that the 4 alliances had dealt a destructive blow to the alliance's main camp in Richland. There were many casualties and many 9-star generals had fallen. This was the worst disaster in history. Grandfather. The little girl jumped in front of Zhu Daoshan and called out to him. But seeing that he was thinking about something, she waited at the side. Zhu Daoshan came back to his senses and touched his granddaughter's head lovingly. He called a maid to bring her away. Grandfather. The little brat pouted. She hadn't played for long. Zhu Daoshan smiled. Listen to me. Once I solve this matter, you won't ask about anything and just accompany your little baby. Really? Really? Then Pinky promise. Don't lie to me. Okay, Pinky promise. Whoever lies is a dog. Zhu Daoshan reached out and hooked his pinky with the little one. He had a son in his later years and then a granddaughter. His life was really complete. But as one of the strongest 9-star generals, his status was really high and the things he had to face were really complicated. During this period of time, he calmed down and thought about many things. In the end, he realized something terrifying. All along, someone had been deliberately targeting them. Zhu Daoshan contacted Wu Zhiga. "Brother Wu, what do you think?" Zhu Daoshan asked. Wu Zhiga said, "What else can we think? We are guilty now. Even our titles have been removed. There are more people on the platform attacking us, so it's better for us to stay put." Zhu Daoshan said, "No, I feel like someone is targeting the Alliance on purpose. Now that the rich land is being attacked, it will be tough for us to defend. I am prepared to head to the front lines. Are you going?" "Forget it. We are already so old, so it is better for us to be safe." After Wu Zhiga went through all these things, he became really careful and didn't dare to go all out. He looked at the discussions on the Alliance platform. He was so furious that he wanted to spit out blood. His heart felt cold. He had sacrificed so much for the Alliance, but in the end, he actually ended up like this. In the past, those young people were cheering. Grandpa Wu was good. Now, he had become Old Thief Wu. What a bunch of practical people. Zhu Daoshan kept silent for a long while. "I can't just ignore it. It isn't easy for the Alliance to reach such a prosperous state. I am prepared to head to the front lines right away. If you don't want to go, then forget it." "Brother Zhu, our relationship isn't good, but we are both unlucky. Since that is the case, then I will accompany you once more." Wu Zhiga said that, but in his heart, he was still worried about the Alliance. "Ha ha, good, then the two of us will shed blood for the Alliance once more." Zhu Daoshan laughed out loud and felt much better. That period of time had a huge impact on him, but he had thought things through. The two of them weren't the only strongest 9-star generals in the Alliance headquarters. But the two of them were the only ones who cared about the Alliance the most. Recently, the Alliance platform was really busy. The main reason was that this matter was just too huge. There were heavy casualties. These damn natives, who gave them the courage to attack the Alliance. Are the people at the headquarters eating sh*t? They still haven't solved this matter. In my opinion, we can only kill them until they are afraid. Only then will they know what pain is. Don't think that things are so simple. Those native sects aren't much individually, but if they are all gathered together, it will be a huge problem. Even the headquarters will find it tough. Kiki, they are just some barbarians who haven't been educated. With our brains, as long as we play some tricks, we will be able to play them. I want to use star-level energy to level them to the ground. That shouldn't be possible. Star-level energy is just too destructive, and the effects it causes are too huge. It doesn't match the Alliance's ideals. We are trying to change their lives and not wipe them out. Moreover, star-level energy requires a terrifying amount of resources. Who knows if the Alliance has it? Damn, this was definitely done by Old Dog Zhu and Old Dog Wu. This happened because they betrayed the Alliance. I heard that Old Dog Zhu has a granddaughter. If we kill her, maybe he will know what the outcome of betraying the Alliance is. Good idea. That is just too cruel. There were all sorts of discussions on the Alliance platform, but the rough meaning was simple, which was to make the natives pay a price. Rich land battlefield. In the past, the Alliance occupied the border cities, and at the same time, they expanded outward. They occupied over 50 cities, and that was really terrifying. But after occupying them, the Alliance started to build bases to mine for energy. Now, all of this was destroyed by the 4 alliances. Evil Alliance, Monster Alliance, Celestial Alliance, Buddha Alliance. The sect leaders whose sects were destroyed had given up on everything. They just wanted the Alliance to pay a heavy price. What made them even more furious was that the Alliance headquarters actually sent someone to send a letter. They warned the 4 alliances to be well-behaved. This was just a small lesson for them. This was something that the 4 alliances couldn't accept. But some sect leaders felt that this wasn't as simple as they thought, so they didn't join in. They just wanted to see how things develop. Of course, some sect leaders said that this was a plot and that they were being used as tools. But to those sect leaders whose sects were destroyed, they didn't care about all that. They just wanted the Alliance headquarters to pay a price. Today, in this chaotic region, there were flames of war all around and there were ruins all around. At that moment, a shadow was hidden deep underground and would occasionally appear. It turned into numerous tentacles that pierced through the corpses and absorbed them in the blink of an eye. Only when there is a war can I improve quickly. King Wudong left the imperial dynasty and came out to search for food. As his strength increased, he became bolder and bolder. But now that he was here, he didn't dare to be arrogant. Although he was improving quickly, there were too many experts here and too many of them could instantly kill him. Thus, to King Wudong, he had to be careful and strengthen himself. Once he reached a high realm, it would be time for him to stir up a storm. There were few corpses from the 4 alliances. Maybe they were killed and taken away by others. But there were many corpses of alliance experts. Another domain realm expert's corpse was absorbed by him. What King Wudong couldn't accept was that the corpses he absorbed were experts who were much stronger than him, but why was the power he received so little? What an intense battle! So long has passed and there are still energy fluctuations in the air. Lin Fan headed out from Marshall Path Mountain and came here. When he stepped into this territory, he smelled the ripples left behind from the battle. Haze, what a waste! Such a good place actually turned into such a state. They really know how to destroy things. Lin Fan felt really bad. It was such a beautiful place in the past, but who knew that it would turn into such a state? It was unrealistic to try and stop it. Suddenly, Lin Fan noticed movement in front. He hid in the darkness and looked at those people. He wasn't interested in them. They were just a bunch of weak people with weak cultivations. But looking at the situation, it seemed like they were searching for useful things on the battlefield. They searched the corpses and then someone exclaimed, "Found it, he has pills on him. Wah, our luck is just too good. Softer, don't get noticed, otherwise we will all die." So, they were here to search for good things. To these weak people, as long as they took risks, they would be able to raise their cultivation. They were around the same age as Lin Fan. But the gap between them and Lin Fan was ridiculously huge. This was the same age, but they had different destinies. Lin Fan took a look and was prepared to leave. But suddenly, not far away, the bunch of people faced the most terrifying thing in history. Many terrifying tentacles shot out from the ground. In the blink of an eye, they pierced their bodies and absorbed them. In the blink of an eye, nothing was left, only clothes were left on the ground. What is this? Lin Fan was shocked and didn't react at all. There was something underground. He wanted to leave. Lin Fan didn't hesitate and attacked from the darkness. He opened his fingers, "Come out." King Wudong's senses were really strong. The moment Lin Fan appeared, he sensed danger and fled without hesitation. But with King Wudong's strength, how could he escape from Lin Fan so easily? Damn. King Wudong was really unwilling, but he knew that if he wanted to escape safely, he had to pay a price. That was impossible. Pung! At that moment, King Wudong used a secret technique and his body collapsed. Naturally, Lin Fan didn't know what happened. He closed his fingers and with a pring, the ground shook. Then, something struck out from the ground and landed in his palm. Lin Fan frowned. What landed in his hand was a red stone. The aura around it was a little evil. He clenched his fingers into a fist, and with a bang, the red rock instantly exploded, turning into ashes and disappearing into the air. Interesting. It's not the Evil Alliance or the Monster Alliance. Is it an unknown force? Lin Fan had clashed with the 4 alliances before and knew their auras. But this aura was really weird. Who was it? Although he paid a huge price to escape from his hands, logically speaking, such a thing shouldn't have happened. Lin Fan stood there and thought for a long while. He felt like this battle wasn't just between the four alliances and the alliance. Maybe there were other powers trying to take advantage of the situation. He continued to head deeper in. Slowly, Lin Fan's expression turned dark and terrifying. It wasn't that he faced an enemy, but that the four alliances were too cruel. This was a battle to wipe out the city, and they didn't care about the commoners or the alliance. They treated everyone the same and suppressed them. Thus, when Lin Fan came to a ruined city, he noticed that there were corpses all around. Some belonged to the alliance and some belonged to commoners. Jerk! Rage burned in Lin Fan's heart. He just wanted to join in and gain some rage points, but their actions were a little too much. The next day, there was a loud explosion. Lin Fan raised his head and looked into the distance. The space there shook intensely and terrifying powers clashed with one another, causing the space to shatter and the dimension to appear. Lin Fan headed into the distance. He had changed his mind. Since that was the case, then he would start a battle. Celestial Alliance Xianyang Sect leader Xian Mu stared at the alliance with rage in his eyes. There were many experts beside him. Compared to Xian Mu, who was at Dao Realm Stage 6, the gap was huge. These experts were all from the top sects under Xianyang Sect. Now that Xian Mu wanted to fight the alliance to the death, naturally, he would bring the experts from the other sections. Even if they weren't willing. But because Xian Mu was too strong, they had no way to fight back. If they really did, they would end up in a tragic state. Opposite them, the Alliance 9-star general raged, "You natives are just asking to die." The 9-star general's eyes were bloodshot. Their alliance had suffered heavy casualties, and this was the most intense one apart from when Lin Wani killed 2 of their strongest 9-star generals. Kill! Xian Mu hollered in rage and then charged towards him. To the subsidiary sects, they started to curse in their hearts. "Sect leader, we can't go on like this. Xian Mu is crazy, but what does it have to do with us? If this continues, we won't be able to gain any benefit. Then, what can we do? Who dares to go against Xian Mu's orders?" It was already not easy for these subsidiary sects to produce a single domain realm expert. But on this battlefield, domain realm experts were nothing more than bystanders. Suddenly, the people in battle sensed a terrifying aura spreading from the distance. They raised their heads. Their eyes shone with confusion. What is that? A streak of light seemed to split the sky into two. The space and dimension were so weak in front of this light. Xian Mu stopped and frowned as he looked into the distance. At the start, he was confused and didn't know what it was. But shortly after, his expression changed drastically. "Be careful." But it was too late. The light that covered the heavens and the earth streaked across everyone's legs silently, as if it could pass through their bodies. Shortly after, a person walked over from the distance. "All of you deserve to die." His tone was really calm and there were no fluctuations at all. One couldn't tell what his current state was like. Poochie. Those people realized that their legs slid off. The wound was smooth and they didn't feel anything at all. But shortly after, they cried out in pain. The pain was unbearable. Xian Mu and the Alliance 9-star general were shocked. When they saw who it was, they exclaimed. Lin Fan uproar. Lin Fan was really famous now and the 4 alliances all knew that he was Lin Wani's son. He was really strong and they could do whatever they wanted to him. Xian Mu raged. "Sect leader Lin, what is the meaning of this?" Lin Fan smiled. "I am killing all of you." Rage points increased. He was just too arrogant. He actually said that he wanted to kill them. Lin Fan wasn't in a rush to attack and waited for the rage point. The people from the subsidiary sects all cried out in pain. To them, they didn't even understand what had happened and their legs were separated from their bodies. That was just too terrifying. Xian Mu hollered in rage and started to use the undying body. His legs grew back. The Alliance 9-star general did the same. Lin Fan waited quietly until the rage points stopped increasing. Then, he was filled with killing intent. Okay, I will send all of you on your way. The moment he said this, a shocking sword light shone in Lin Fan's eyes. Numerous sword intents surged out from his body, and instantly, the sky was filled with sword shadows. Kill. The sword intent flowed, and life after life was reaped. Even Xian Mu and the Alliance 9-star general couldn't take it. After blocking for a while, their bodies were sliced apart. Even if they had the undying body, it was useless. From the start till now, Lin Fan didn't move at all. His attacks were really sharp and overbearing. It was so shocking that it sent chills down one's spine. Since I am so overbearing, does that count as me causing trouble? Lin Fan thought about it and was in deep thought. But forget it. Why did he have to think so much? All of this wasn't important anymore. Since they were already here, then he would just kill them. With his current strength, it was enough. He didn't need to run. If he met an expert, then he would just fight. If they weren't happy, then he would continue. He wasn't afraid of anyone. A few days later, the four alliances and the alliance headquarters realized that both sides had suffered heavy casualties. The one affected the most was the alliance headquarters. So many of them died, so naturally, the news couldn't be hidden. The alliance platform was in an uproar. The death toll was a shocking one. Damn! What is the alliance headquarters doing? So many people have died, so why aren't they doing anything? Are the four alliances going to counterattack? Where is the star-level energy? Release it and flatten them. Alliance headquarters. The commander wasn't at the headquarters and went to the front lines. But even then, he didn't bring any good news to the alliance. Meeting room. All of you have seen the situation. The people are asking the alliance to release star-level energy to flatten the natives. What do you think? The person who spoke was the deputy commander Cheong. The commander wasn't here, so he was in charge of the alliance headquarters. At that moment, everyone present exchanged glances with one another. This price is a little high. Right, star-level energy is our final trump card. The alliance only has 3 of them. They didn't know what to do. They saw the people's petition, but they were just a bunch of ignorant people. Why should they listen to them? Cheong, I agree to release star-level energy. The one who spoke was the highest existence in the tech division, Xiang Yuntian. When he said this, everyone's eyes focused on Xiang Yuntian. Some lowered their heads and were in deep thought. Some understood. The tech division's position in the alliance headquarters was high and low. It was really useful for the people, but it was tough for them to do anything in the war. Xiang Yuntian was really calm and didn't even change his expression when he suggested using star-level energy. They knew that the tech division wanted to prove themselves. P.S. Today is my real birthday and I will be having dinner to celebrate. I could have written more, but that is all for today. Chapter 520. The research ability of the Alliance headquarters wasn't weak at all. To be able to become a member of the research department, they were all geniuses. Maybe they weren't good at cultivation, but they were extremely smart. Xiang Yuntian wasn't strong, but he was really smart. He was the strongest person in the research department. In other people's words, Commander Xiang alone could catch up to everyone in the department. He wasn't bragging, and it was the truth. Star-level energy was created by him, and it was 100 times more terrifying than the Alliance headquarters' strongest weapon. Cheong said, "This matter has a huge impact. Since that is the case, then let's vote. But not today. I hope that all of you can think about whether or not it is worth it. 1 star-level energy consumes close to 30% of the Alliance's energy." The deputy commander felt heart-pained. At the same time, he didn't know the true strength of the star-level energy, as he had never used it before. He had only simulated it on equipment. Based on the data, it was really terrifying, and even someone at Dao Realm Stage 7 might not be able to block it. Space, dimension, all of them were shattered. but he didn't know the exact situation. After all, it was just a simulation. Cheong's suggestion was agreed by everyone. They had to think about it and they couldn't just do whatever they wanted. Xiang Yuntian said, "All of you can think about it and decide whether or not to release the star-level energy tomorrow. But I can tell all of you that as long as you use it, you will be able to deal a heavy blow to the natives. When the time comes, all of you will know that even if you cultivate for your entire life, you won't be able to block this small star-level energy." Everyone looked toward Xiang Yuntian with a suspicious gaze. He made it sound really terrifying, but who knew what the exact situation would be like? After Zhu Daoshan and Wu Zhiga joined the front lines, they faced the sect leaders of the top sections. They had already clashed once, but there was no outcome. At that moment, Wu Zhiga frowned and said with dissatisfaction, "Look at these guys. They really think of us as traitors. Say it's already like this, and we're still licking our faces to help. Aren't we just finding trouble for ourselves? At such a time, we don't need to care about how others look at us," Zhu Daoshan said. He didn't care about their gazes at all. The biggest headache was that the attacks of the four alliances were scattered and they couldn't deal with them at all. He hoped that the four alliances could work together as it would be easier to block them. Wu Zhiga said, "I didn't expect the natives to be so bold to attack the alliance headquarters. Even the commander personally came out to suppress them. If Lin Wani is here, we will work together with the commander and he will definitely die." Zhu Daoshan shook his head. "Lin Wani isn't the most important anymore. His son is. This kid has terrifying potential, and if we don't kill him, it will be a huge danger for the Alliance headquarters." Speaking of Lin Fan, Wu Zhiga was filled with regret. "If I had known this would happen, I would have sent him and his mother on their way back then." Zhu Daoshan said, "What is the point of saying all this? Since it has already happened, we can only think of a way to solve it." Along the way, Lin Fan killed people from the Alliance and the four alliances. He killed so much that the hearts of the Alliance turned cold. As for the four alliances, they were furious. Four alliances meeting. Who did it? They actually killed so many of us. The Alliance also suffered heavy casualties, and someone used this chance to attack us. I don't know, but I am sure that it isn't the Alliance. Even if someone knows who did it, it is useless. They have all turned into corpses. Their sect was wiped out by the Alliance, and as sect leaders, if they couldn't take revenge, then they would feel really frustrated. Thus, they weren't prepared to head back alive. They wanted the Alliance headquarters to pay the price. The next day, Alliance headquarters meeting. "Okay, let's vote on whether or not to release star-level energy," Cheong said. This was a huge matter. At the same time, there were reporters broadcasting it to the entire Alliance. As for the reporters, they were really excited. They didn't expect that they would face such a thing. They knew about star-level energy, but they didn't know what it was. Maybe this time they would be able to personally witness it. The reporter faced the camera and said excitedly, "Guys, this is the Alliance meeting. The tech department's highest commander has suggested using star-level energy on the native. If half of them agree, then the Alliance headquarters will release it. Before the voting starts, let's switch the scene. Famous star-level energy researcher Wang Tao will explain the strength of star-level energy." Very quickly, the scene changed. An old man had a smile on his face as he faced the camera. It was Wang Tao. Wang Tao said, "Viewers, all of you should know about star-level energy, but you must be wondering whether or not the Alliance has it. I can tell all of you that we do, and it was personally developed by Xiang Yuntian 10 years ago. His production process is very complicated and dangerous. Any mistake could lead to an explosion. I'm sure some people still remember the news of the snow mountain being destroyed 12 years ago. That's right, it was because of a small mistake that the snow mountain within a radius of hundreds of miles disappeared from the world. But luckily there weren't any researchers there, so apart from financial losses, there were no casualties. Now let's talk about how strong star-level energy is. The Alliance has never used it before, so we don't have accurate data. But based on the simulation data, when it explodes, the core strength will be similar to dozens of Tao Realm Stage 7 experts self-destructing. Of course, this is just the simulation data and we don't know the exact situation. At the same time, the most terrifying thing about star-level energy isn't the core strength, but, before he finished, the scene was cut. Guys, the voting has begun. We are all witnesses to history. The reporter shouted excitedly. As for Wang Tao, who didn't even finish, he was annoyed. Damn. You invited me to give a lecture, at least let me finish. Xiang Yuntian was the first to agree to use star-level energy. Qiong was hesitant. Those 9-star generals looked at one another and after thinking for a long while, they agreed to use star-level energy too. Of course, many of them felt that there were too many unknowns about star-level energy. How strong it was and whether or not it would affect their own people were all unknown, so they rationally rejected using it. The livestream platform started to scold. Damn, why don't these few old fellows agree? Damn, just one look and I know that they are traitors of the Alliance. What is there to consider when using star-level energy on the natives? I think we should just wipe out these dirty natives. How can we not be careful? Even the Alliance doesn't know how strong star-level energy is. What if we use it rashly and the consequences are severe? Using such a destructive weapon on the natives is just too cruel. Very quickly, the voting results were out. More than half of them agreed to use star-level energy. The Alliance platform was in an uproar. They all wanted to see how terrifying star-level energy was. Just thinking about using the natives as guinea pigs was really exciting. Haha, as expected, it passed. I am so excited. I suggest using Old Dog Zhu's granddaughter to celebrate. I agree with the person above. Haha, you all are a little cruel. How is that cruel? The descendant of a traitor is also a traitor. In a slightly old room, a bare-armed man drank and looked at the platform. When he saw that the voting had passed, he shouted excitedly. His eyes shone brightly. Okay, that is the way. Wipe out those natives. He hated the natives and felt that they were lowly people. In the past, when he went to the zoo to look at the caged natives, he would often use sharp stones to smash those dirty natives. At this moment, when he saw the comments about using Zhu Daoshan's granddaughter to worship the heavens, he felt that this idea was doable. The alcohol kicked in and he felt like he had to do something huge. He then sent comment. Good idea. I will head to Old Dog Zhu's granddaughter's school now. The bare-armed man wore clean clothes and with a shake of his body, he gave off the feeling that he was a successful person. Zhu Daoshan's granddaughter's school was a noble school. If he didn't dress up properly, he wouldn't be able to enter. Moreover, even then, it would take some effort to enter. On the battlefront, Lin Fan hid in the darkness and retracted his aura. He looked forwards and saw many familiar people. Wu Zhiga, Zhu Daoshan, and also a stranger. But he didn't look like an ordinary person and his status was high. At that moment, the atmosphere was a little suppressed like a war was about to erupt. Guys, this is a misunderstanding. We fell for someone else's plot. The commander said loudly. This was an unnecessary war. He also wanted to wipe out these sects, but it was too difficult, especially now that everyone was minding their own business and living in peace with one another. The alliance continued to occupy land and the 4 alliances slowly developed. This was a good situation. Thus, the commander treated occupying the rich land as a long-term war. Maybe 10 years, 100 years, or even a few hundred years. All of this could be done slowly. What a joke, just because you say so. Then, who can take responsibility for the people who died in our sect? The one who spoke was a Monster Alliance sect leader. As the sect leader, he worked so hard to manage the sect. Who knew that when he returned, he would realize that the once prosperous sect was in ruins. Lin Fan listened to their conversation and nodded his head in agreement. Right, they definitely couldn't die. Don't talk nonsense, hurry up and kill them, the commander said. I know that all of you are angry, but there are some things that the Alliance did but we didn't do at all. Interesting, then who else could it be? Lin Fan colluded with you and told you where we were. Now you actually say that you didn't do it. Your alliance is just too much. Monster Alliance sect leader raged. The commander felt that these people had problems with their brains, but he still calmed himself down. Guys, do you think that Lin Fan will work with the Alliance? This General Wu killed his mother, so do you think that there is a possibility of working with him? The commander said. In the distance, Lin Fan squinted and stared at Wu Zhiga. If he had a chance, he had to kill Wu Zhiga. No matter what, he had to take revenge for his mother. Lin Wani had always wanted to kill Wu Zhiga, but he just hadn't found a chance. The commander continued, Have all of you not noticed the problem? The people from the 4 alliances and the Alliance were killed by a mysterious person and suffered heavy casualties. This means that a mysterious faction has their eyes on us and is waiting for us to suffer heavy losses so that they can reap the benefit. I can swear that if the Alliance did this, then I will be struck by lightning and die a horrible death. The commander looked really handsome and solemn when he swore. It really stunned the sect leaders of the 4 alliances. Lin Fan was really anxious. Based on the situation, it would be tough for the battle to start. Who? Suddenly, the commander frowned and looked into the distance. He grabbed with his fingers and the dimension broke. Lin Fan appeared. Lin Fan. It is you. Everyone had different expressions. Some were furious, some were shocked. It was obvious that Lin Fan's sudden appearance shocked them. Lin Fan didn't panic at all and walked over calmly. I didn't expect that I would meet all of you here. Commander is right, I really didn't work with the Alliance. The commander frowned and felt like something was off. Lin Fan, you actually dare to appear. I think you are asking to die. Zhu Daoshan stared at Lin Fan in rage. This kid conned the Alliance so badly. General Zhu, your words are a little problematic. Didn't we work well together last time? Why are you turning against me this time around? Lin Fan asked. Zhu Daoshan raged. What nonsense are you saying? Lin Fan smiled and then looked at the people from the 4 alliances. I know that all of you want to kill me, but that is okay. You aren't the only ones who want to. I appeared here to tell all of you that the Alliance can't be trusted. If you work with them, it will be easy for you to turn on me. Lin Fan, did you tell the Alliance where we were? A sect leader asked in rage. Lin Fan said, You can't say that. I didn't tell the Alliance where you were. Swear that if you lie, you will die a horrible death. Someone said. Lin Fan acted like he had a headache. No, how can I swear so casually? But please believe me that it is true. The Alliance wants to kill me, so how can they work with me? The more he said that, the more suspicious the people from the 4 alliances became. Damn. You said that the Alliance wanted to kill you. Now that there was such a good chance, you actually didn't push the blame to the Alliance. If you said that there was no problem, then you were lying. The commander knew that things weren't good. As expected, he realized that the gazes of the people from the 4 alliances were a little off. Guys, let's not talk about whether it is true or not. Why don't we work together to kill this kid? He has such strength at such a young age. If he continues to develop, the outcome will be catastrophic. When that happens, no one will be able to suppress him. The commander was really curious about Lin Fan's growth, but he had no choice. To clear the Alliance's suspicions, he could only kill the kid on the spot to prevent any future problems. Moreover, he mentioned Lin Fan's advantage so that the people from the 4 alliances would notice it. It was impossible for him to be strong. The most terrifying thing was that he was young and had limitless potential. That was the truly terrifying thing. Lin Fan took another look at the commander. Who knew that this fellow was so cunning? He purposely stirred up the jealousy of the four alliances. He had no choice. He was too amazing and was welcomed everywhere he went. Wu Zhiga laughed coldly. Kid, you will definitely die today. I will send you down to meet your mother. Old thing, stop bragging. Who knows who will die? Lin Fan chuckled. He wanted to kill everyone here. However, he was estimating that a huge battle was about to break out. This battle would probably take up a lot of time. But it was still okay. With 9 demon here, how could he be afraid? Suddenly, the commander's expression changed. He just received news that the Alliance used star-level energy and it was traveling quickly. In just a short while, it would arrive. At the same time, the Alliance members at the border were retreating. Damn it. Who was the one who suggested using star-level energy? They could have solved it right away, so why did they do that? Although the Alliance didn't know the exact situation, he knew that it was terrifying. Zhu Daoshan and Wu Zhiga saw the change in the commander's expression and were shocked. Did something huge happen? But very quickly, they also received news that the Alliance headquarters released star-level energy. In just a short while, it would arrive. If they didn't run, there was a high chance that they would die here. He didn't know how strong star-level energy was, but for it to consume so much of the Alliance's energy, it definitely wasn't so simple. 3 9-star generals, your expressions don't look good. Lin Fan realized that the expressions of the commander and the others had changed from the initial calmness to one of shock. Something must have happened. Guys, I just received news that someone from the Alliance is using a really strong weapon. In just a short while, they will arrive. I don't want to be enemies with the 4 alliances, so it is best if all of you leave, otherwise the outcome will be catastrophic. The commander said. He didn't think for long and told them about the star-level energy. Zhu Daoshan and Wu Zhiga were stunned and didn't expect the commander to actually tell them. But thinking about it, they thought about the commander's intentions. If these people were killed by the star-level energy, they would really be enemies with the 4 alliances. It would affect the future development of the alliance. A really strong weapon? A sect leader said in disdain. I am at Dao Realm Stage 7. What kind of weapon can harm me? Your alliance actually said that you didn't work with Lin Fan. Then, I want to know whether or not you will kill him before you leave. No, otherwise it will be too late. The commander said. His heart was filled with rage. What was going on with Qiong? Why did he agree to use star-level energy? He really wanted to kill Lin Fan here, but time didn't wait for him. Ha, interesting, this is really interesting. Your alliance is really despicable. You did it but don't dare to admit it. Now, you want to help the kid get out of it. How could they believe the nonsense that the commander said? But Lin Fan believed it. He realized that the commander didn't seem like he was joking. Moreover, the change in the situation was too huge. I have already told you the situation. Whether or not you believe it is your problem. The commander said. He nodded towards Zhu Daoshan and Wu Zhiga. The 3 of them left without turning their heads. Zhu Daoshan said, Commander, who released the star-level energy? This might cause the situation to go out of control. The Alliance headquarters voted that Xiang Yuntian should release the star-level energy. The commander said. Wu Zhiga said, maybe this is a good start. What good? If everyone from the 4 alliances is here, we can release the star-level energy and kill as many as we can. But this is just a small portion of the 4 alliances. Once a problem occurs, the alliance will really start a war with the 4 alliances. The good situation will be messed up. What are these people thinking? The commander was so furious that his head hurt. At that moment, the people from the 4 alliances were stunned by the alliance's actions. They had no idea what was going on. Lin Fan suddenly thought about a possibility. Not only did the alliance cultivate, but it was also a technological world. Star-level energy, was it that thing? When he had such a thought, Lin Fan was shocked and felt that it was a little terrifying. But now that the people from the four alliances were here, it was impossible for him to leave peacefully. Suddenly, a light shone in the distance. One couldn't see what it was, but it seemed like it was heading towards them. Damn. Lin Fan had a bad feeling. It seemed like it really was the case. Lin Fan, you have nowhere to run. Today is the day you die. The people from the four alliances stared at Lin Fan in rage. Some of them even predicted what would happen to Lin Fan. Wait. Lin Fan opened his mouth. To others, they thought that Lin Fan was afraid. But thinking about it, there were so many of them and Lin Fan was alone. How could he block them? Scoff, are you afraid? Let me tell you, it is too late. Lin Fan shook his head and raised his hand. No, look, something is heading over. Let me tell you that this isn't a joke. People will die. The moment he said this, Lin Fan didn't say any nonsense and just ran. He felt really uneasy. He felt like a terrifying thing was about to happen. Chase, don't let the kid run. The people from the four alliances hollered in rage. They didn't care about the thing flying over and didn't even care about it. What would die? Some Dao Realm Stage 7 experts were filled with disdain. With their strength, what else could threaten their lives? Unless other experts came, they didn't even need to think about it. Lin Fan felt that since the Alliance commander was willing to give up the chance to kill him and wanted to leave, how could it be something normal? Maybe it was really terrifying. In the distance, Zhu Daoshan's communication device rang. He frowned and wondered who would contact him at such a time. When he saw the contact person, he was furious. His maid actually dared to contact him. When he came from the Alliance, he told the people around him not to contact him no matter what. It seemed like they didn't care about his words. After a while, the commander and Wu Zhiga realized that Zhu Daoshan was standing there like a fool and ignoring the star-level energy. They were a little anxious. Zhu Daoshan, what are you doing? Why aren't you retreating? Do you want to die here? The commander raged. Wu Zhiga was anxious too. What was going on? Was there something wrong with his brain? P.S. I recommend a book called Just Want to Be Low Profile. Chapter 521. Old Master, Little Miss was attacked in the school. I don't know how he snuck in. The security guards didn't notice him at all. Little Miss has been taken away by the Alliance headquarters 9-star generals to be treated. I don't know the exact situation, but when she was carried out, she was covered in blood. I don't know what happened to her. A panicked voice spread into Zhu Daoshan's ears. It was obvious that the maid was terrified. At that moment, Zhu Daoshan's body trembled and his hands shook a lot. Search for news about Yinglong Alliance College. Smart search. Very quickly, a wide range of videos appeared. At the same time, there were many comments. So tragic. This fellow is a beast. He even dared to attack such a small child. Even if his grandfather is a traitor, he can't attack an innocent child. Well done. One person is a traitor, the whole family is a traitor. I feel so good after watching this. Hero, this is the hero in our hearts. Die, you dog traitor descendant. Shortly after, a video appeared. The guy in the video was mad and he held a bottle in his hand. The liquid in the bottle was really turbid. Did you all see that? This is old Zhu's granddaughter. Damn, one has to say that there are so many guards in this school. Luckily, I am smart enough to climb in from the sh*T pipe. Now, it is time for me to punish him. I will let old Zhu know the outcome of betraying the Alliance. The video was a little shaky and it seemed to be in a corner of the school. Then, the man opened the bottle and poured the liquid on her body. At that moment, screams and cries struck Zhu Daoshan's heart. A bunch of security guards charged in and punched the guy into the wall. Heal her. Quick, from the video, one could hear that the security guards were panicking. After all, this was a noble school and this was the granddaughter of the strongest 9-star general. This was a huge problem. Pata. Pata. Zhu Daoshan ignored the star-level energy that flew over. His eyes were red as he looked at the video. He, who had never cried before, was now tearing up. Why? Why? He did not understand why the other party would do such a thing. Even if the other party was dissatisfied with him, they could have done anything to him. Why did they have to make a move on his granddaughter? She was just a child who knew nothing and only knew how to call him Grandpa. What are you doing? Star-level energy will arrive soon. Do you want to die? The commander raged. He didn't know what Zhu Daoshan was doing. He wanted to drag Zhu Daoshan away, but shortly after, he realized that Zhu Daoshan's expression and condition were really bad. His eyes were even filled with rage, like he wanted to destroy the world. The commander felt that things weren't right. He noticed the equipment in Zhu Daoshan's hands and took it right away. When he saw the contents, his face turned ashen white. This was Zhu Daoshan's granddaughter and he knew her. They had a good relationship and he really liked her. He just wanted to kill this guy. Bastard. Do you even know what you're doing? Did the security guards of the aristocratic school all grow up eating shit? They actually allowed such a thing to happen. But the commander didn't expect that Lin Fan would actually climb in from the *T pipe just to attack Zhu Daoshan's granddaughter. The commander's tone became much gentler. Leave first. The Alliance will definitely give you an explanation. The Alliance will capture all those people who commented randomly on the platform. You can deal with them however you want. Can you leave first? She is still waiting for you. He had known Zhu Daoshan for decades and knew what kind of person he was. To Zhu Daoshan, the most important thing was the Alliance and his granddaughter. Now that someone touched his granddaughter, it was the same as killing him. It was even more serious than killing him. Zhu Daoshan slowly raised his head. His eyes were bloodshot and it sent a chill down one's spine. I want them to die. The moment he said this, Zhu Daoshan looked at the star-level energy in the distance like he had already thought about what to do next. The commander realized that Zhu Daoshan's aura was different and he was shocked. He pinned Zhu Daoshan to the ground and pressed down on him. What do you want to do? When Wu Zhiga saw this, he was stunned. What was going on? Why did they start fighting for no reason? Also, the star-level energy was about to arrive. If they continued to waste time, they would just be asking to die. He looked at the equipment that fell to the ground and picked it up. But slowly, his expression changed. Rage appeared on his face and he gritted his teeth. These pieces of trash. They were called traitors. Even if they were a little annoyed, forget it. They would just bear with it. But he didn't expect that someone would be so crazy to attack Zhu Daoshan's family. Zhu Daoshan, do you remember the oath you swore when you entered the Alliance College? Do you remember your dream and goal? That is to strengthen the Alliance and make it a place that everyone in the world looks up to. Now, do you want to personally destroy it? Remember your identity. You are the strongest 9-star general in the Alliance and everything you do is for the Alliance. The Alliance has let you down. Once we return, the Alliance will definitely give you an explanation. Now, follow us back. Don't do any useless things. The commander hollered. He knew that Zhu Daoshan wanted to use his body to block the star-level energy and send it back to the Alliance. But how was that possible? The person controlling the star-level energy definitely wouldn't allow that to happen. He would probably explode on the spot. Zhu Daoshan was in pain. He clenched his fists and his nails pierced into his flesh. He felt really conflicted. Alliance, granddaughter. These were all things that he wanted to protect in his life. Who knew that this would happen? The commander raised his head and looked into the distance. He didn't care about what Zhu Daoshan was thinking and carried him on his shoulder. He said to Wu Zhiga, Let's go, quick, otherwise it will be too late. At this moment Wu Zhiga was furious. Although his relationship with Zhu Daoxin wasn't that good, his granddaughter was polite and would call him Grandpa Wu. This made Wu Zhiga really like that brat. When they returned, he would make those people pay the price. At that moment, the commander and the others turned into streaks of light and sped through the dimension. Not long later, a star-level energy landed on the ground, and with a loud explosion, an eye-catching light exploded. In the blink of an eye, it covered 1,000 miles. This was just the beginning. The ground shook and the cloud layer dissipated. The sky was ripped apart. An extremely powerful shockwave quickly spread out, causing the dimension to collapse and everything to turn into nothingness. This strength. Lin Fan turned his head and was tongue-tied. Although he didn't dare to underestimate that thing, looking at the situation, it would reach here soon. Those who were chasing after Lin Fan and yelling to kill him felt the ripples coming from behind them as they fell into a state of shock. They only had one thought in their hearts. How did this thing come into being? What is going on with old ancestor Kuan? Why is he still there? At that moment, someone realized that old ancestor Kuan was in the distance and didn't chase Lin Fan at all. Old ancestor Kuan was at Dao Realm Stage 6 and was really strong. When he saw so many people chasing Lin Fan, he didn't follow. But he didn't expect such a thing to happen. Damn, I am at Dao Realm Stage 6. How can such a weird thing hurt me? Old ancestor Kuan hollered in rage. He wanted to run, but he didn't even see the enemy. He just saw a weird thing land on the ground and suddenly explode. He was so terrified that he peed his pants. That wasn't his style. At that moment, old ancestor Kuan hollered in rage. His body was covered in a bright light. At the same time, Dao patterns swept out and wrapped around his body, forming an impenetrable shield. In the blink of an eye, a shockwave struck him. Then, there was nothing then. Old ancestor Kuan turned to dust and disappeared from the world. He was too close and was even within the first explosion range. What? When the experts who were paying attention to old ancestor Kuan saw those scenes, they were all shocked. The terrifying old ancestor Kuan had actually disappeared in the blink of an eye. What kind of strength was that? How terrifying was that? What did the Alliance headquarters do? Why was it so shocking? Alliance headquarters, Data Collection Center. Countless large machine transport stations collected the power data produced by the explosion of the star-level nuclear energy at the same time. Everyone started to get busy. Their faces were filled with excitement. They were the witnesses of history. Ever since the star-level energy was researched, it had never been used. Now, they could finally detonate one in the Richland. They could feel the power of the star-level energy as they wished. Xiang Yuntian's tightly furrowed brows finally relaxed. He knew that the moment the tech division detonated the star-level energy, they stood up. In the past, the Alliance martial artists suppressed them and didn't care about them at all. They felt that the tech division could only develop some small things and wouldn't be able to affect the war at all. But did they see it now? How strong was the star-level energy? It even exceeded what Xiang Yuntian, the developer, expected. Don't relax, record the data carefully. Xiang Yuntian instructed. Yes. Don't worry, Commander. Everyone cheered and jumped up in excitement. They were fully focused on their work. This is just too terrifying. Lin Fan didn't expect the explosion to be so shocking. But it wasn't that it had no weaknesses. To Dao Realm experts like them, before the star-level energy landed, they could flee. But the area was too huge. Even if they ran so far away, they weren't able to escape from the shockwave. When they turned their heads, they could see the shockwave sweeping towards them at a terrifying speed. Everything disappeared in the shockwave. Suddenly, screams of terror spread out. What is that? An old man exclaimed. He sped through the dimension and could have avoided the attack. But for some reason, he still sensed danger. In the blink of an eye, the speed at which the shockwave spread was as fast as the speed at which he sped through the dimension. Not only did space shatter, space and the dimension were all shattered. Pung! The old man felt a scorching, earth-shattering power enveloping his body. Poochie! Fresh blood spurted out. The flesh and blood on his body disappeared at a visible rate and white bones appeared. How is that possible? Terror flashed in the old man's eyes. What weapon was that? Why was it so terrifying? He was a Tao Realm Stage 7 expert, and such a thing shouldn't have happened. Undying body recovered. At the same time, he hollered in rage and tried to block the shockwave. But to the old man, although he was strong, the shockwave was too terrifying. It continued to destroy his defensive Tao patterns. In the blink of an eye, the shockwave engulfed everyone, including Lin Fan. At that moment, the sky became turbid and was covered by the white light. It was like it was telling everyone that the world was white. Who knew how long passed? The light slowly dissipated. The area covered by the star-level energy had turned into a hellish scene. The sky seemed to have shattered and a storm swept about. Pata! An unknown black block was pushed aside. A person slowly stood up. Lin Fan's body was in pain and a large portion of his flesh and blood had disappeared. If he wasn't a dual cultivator, he wouldn't even be left with a bit of flesh and blood. He used the blood demon reversal technique and his body instantly recovered. So terrifying, I didn't expect the Alliance headquarters to have such a trump card. Lin Fan was shocked. He had underestimated the Alliance. He thought that the strongest in the Alliance were the strongest 9-star generals, but now it seemed like the so-called star-level energy was the truly terrifying thing. The area after it exploded was just too wide, and the most terrifying thing was the shockwave. Logically speaking, with their cultivation, when they sped through the dimension, it was the same as entering another dimension. Who knew that they would still be struck out from the dimension? He looked around. The once familiar scenery had disappeared. It was totally barren, and even the most normal land had disappeared. Only those black blocks were supporting it. He didn't know what they were, but maybe they were the protective layer of this world. Lin Fan remembered that many experts were chasing him. He didn't know what happened, but if he could, he didn't mind killing them. But he searched and didn't see a single person. Tao Realm Stage 6 might have died. But Tao Realm Stage 7 shouldn't have died, and they should have been badly injured. It seemed like the explosion just blew them to another place. Pung! Lin Fan rose into the air and looked around. The explosion formed a giant hole that one couldn't see the end of. Moreover, the violent countercurrents kept bombarding his body. If he was weak, he would have been ripped apart by the current. There is no hope for this place to recover. Lin Fan cursed the Alliance for being so vicious to actually release such a terrifying thing. The border city disappeared. But the Alliance headquarters shouldn't have too much star-level energy. If there really was a lot, they didn't need to fight them at all and they could just surrender. But the star-level energy was too destructive and this place was useless. It wasn't suitable for humans to live at all. To Lin Fan, this was something the Alliance headquarters would do when they had no other choice. It seemed like he had to pay attention in the future. It was best to retreat when facing such things. He was confident in his own strength, but he wasn't so arrogant that he thought that he could survive the explosion. If he didn't run and took it head-on, he would have been dead long ago. He wouldn't even have felt any pain at all. The Alliance headquarters only had 3-star level energy, and now there were 2 left. This was a weapon of deterrence, but they didn't pay much attention to it. Now that the tech division of the Alliance had released it, it proved its value. A truly destructive weapon would change the entire battle situation. Alliance headquarters. Zhu Daoshin slowly opened his eyes and the sound of medical equipment spread into his ears. At the same time, he realized that he was soaked in liquid and his injuries were slowly recovering. He didn't know what had happened. At that moment, he was swept into the shockwave, and after defending for a moment, he was badly injured and then fainted. Suddenly, Zhu Daoshan seemed to have thought about something. Pung! He smashed the glass with one fist and large amounts of liquid splattered all around. He pulled out the tubes on his body and rushed out anxiously. General Zhu, you can't head out now. A medic walked up to stop him, but he was stunned by Zhu Daoshan's gaze and didn't dare to move at all. Zhu Daoshan walked outside and saw a medic. He grabbed him and hollered, "Where is my granddaughter? Alliance headquarters." Pung! The commander punched Xiang Yuntian to the ground. He didn't use any strength, otherwise, he would have exploded on the spot. "You lunatic, do you know what you are doing?" The commander hollered in rage, "You nearly caused us to die." Blood flowed from the corner of Xiang Yuntian's mouth. He looked at the commander and smiled. "I know, but you have also seen how terrifying star-level energy is. This is an improvement for the Alliance, and it will let all the people know that the Alliance has a weapon that can decide victory. When I released the star-level energy, I informed all of you. With the commander's strength, it won't be a problem for you to leave." The commander looked at Xiang Yuntian in rage and said, "I have already discussed with the 4 alliances to clear up the misunderstanding. But because of your decision, the Alliance and the 4 alliances are going against each other. You have to take responsibility." Xiang Yuntian said, "Decision?" The release of star-level energy was decided by a vote. Moreover, the strength of the star-level energy has caused a lot of discussion in the Alliance to raise the people's trust in the Alliance headquarters. You can't do that, right? After all, you have made several mistakes and the people's trust in the Alliance headquarters has dropped. Just as the commander wanted to say something, someone hurried in. "Commander, General Zhu has woken up." The commander retracted his furious gaze and nodded. He walked out and then looked at Qiong. "Qiong, when I am not here, you are in charge. I want to know why Zhu Daoshan's granddaughter was attacked in the college. Are the security guards eating sh*t? I order you to capture all of them and send them to the Alliance court." "Yes, Commander," Qiong replied. "Also, send the culprit to the medical center." When the commander walked to the door, he turned around and said, "Yes." Xiang Yuntian looked at the commander who left and shook his head. "Hayes, martial artists are martial artists. The power of science shouldn't be underestimated. You should speak less. The commander's head hurts. Zhu Daoshan's granddaughter. Hayes, she is such a good girl and she has to suffer like this." Qiong shook his head. He wanted to wipe out that noble college. Damn, they couldn't even do security and they dared to say that it was a noble college. Why didn't they just die? Xiang Yuntian said, "That's right, the atmosphere on the platform isn't good. If you need help, then find me. It won't be difficult for me to find the trash behind all this." Zhu Daoshan was being treated at the Alliance Headquarters Treatment Center. Normal people weren't able to come here to be treated. The commander's face was cold along the way and very quickly, he arrived at the special ward. He wanted to push the door open but he thought about something. He pulled the medic over and said, "What is her situation now?" When the medic saw that the commander was the one who stopped him, he was really emotional. He then thought about the little girl and said seriously, "We have tried our best. She can be said to be dead or alive." "Vegetable?" the commander said. "She's not a vegetable. Although a vegetable is unconscious, she's still conscious. However, according to our tests, she doesn't have any consciousness at all. Her heart is still beating slightly, but the frequency of the beating is not enough to support the number of times a person needs it to beat. Therefore, the specific conclusion we came to is that she's dead, but we didn't dare to tell General Zhu." The commander waved his hands and pushed the door open. Within the room, Zhu Daoshan sat by the bed and lowered his head. He grabbed his granddaughter's hand. Wu Zhiga stood at the side and didn't know how to console Zhu Daoshan. He could only sigh and then he looked at the person who came. Commander. The commander nodded and looked at the little girl who was lying there. She was wrapped up like a dumpling. When she was sent here, her entire body was corroded by the liquid and one could even see her bones and organs. Even with the special liquid, she was still unable to recover to her original state. He walked behind Zhu Daoshan and placed his palm on his shoulder. The Alliance has let you down. I have already ordered them to give you an explanation. Zhu Daoshan didn't say anything. He just grabbed his granddaughter's hand and rubbed his forehead against the back of her hand. Zhu Daoshan wasn't the strongest 9-star general in the Alliance. He was just a normal old man who lost his granddaughter. An old man who gave up everything for the Alliance and fought for his entire life. Suddenly, Zhu Daoshan raised his head and looked at his granddaughter. He removed the tubes on her body and hugged her. Baby, don't be afraid. Grandfather will bring you home. The commander wanted to say something but Wu Zhiga stopped him. The two of them stood there and looked on as Zhu Daoshan carried his granddaughter and walked outside. He knows better than anyone what is going on. It is just that he doesn't want to believe it. Wu Zhiga said and then sighed. Truthfully, for some reason, when I see these scenes, I am a little disappointed in the Alliance. The commander looked at Wu Zhiga and patted his shoulder. He nodded his head and walked outside. On the corridor, the man who had committed the crime was tied up and dragged over, shouting and yelling. I am the Alliance's hero. I am helping the Alliance clean up. Suddenly, the male looked at the person who walked over and for some reason, his throat felt like something was stuck. He became terrified and didn't dare to say a single word. Zhu Daoshan hugged his granddaughter and caressed her hair. When he passed the male, he didn't bother at all. He didn't even take a look and just walked past him. Wu Zhiga, who had just walked out of the ward, saw the male. He walked forwards and grabbed his collar, slapping his face time and time again. Bastard, you bastard! The male spat out blood and his face changed shape. Save me, the traitor of the Alliance wants to kill me. Save me. The male hugged his head and shouted. At that moment, outside the medical center, a large number of reporters were gathered. When they saw Zhu Daoshan walk out, they took pictures crazily. To them, this was huge news. Although they pitted his granddaughter in front of the news, it wasn't important anymore. They just wanted to know what the outcome was. General Zhu, I saw the culprit being sent here. Should we execute the culprit here and not send him to the Alliance court? What do you think about such revenge? General Zhu, what is your granddaughter's situation like? Is she out of danger? Are you going to sue the security of Noble College? The commander walked out from the treatment center, and when he saw how heartless the reporters were, he was so furious that he nearly exploded. He instructed the people beside him, remember these people, I want them to pay the price. Yes, Commander. Zhu Daoshan rose into the air and didn't bother about them. He just left right away. Zhu family courtyard. The servants all knew that something huge had happened. When they saw old master carry the little miss back, no one dared to say anything. They didn't even dare to ask. To them, they felt like everything had become really suppressive. It was like a giant stone was pressing down on their bodies, making it hard for them to breathe. On this day, Zhu Daoshan stayed in the little miss room and didn't come out. No one knew what had happened and no one dared to ask. The next day, when the servants saw old master come out, they were dispirited. They instructed them to take care of the little miss before leaving. No one knew where old master was going. Alliance Data Center. With Zhu Daoshan's status, no one dared to stop him from appearing here. Especially after such a thing happened, no one dared to ask about it. He came here and stayed for an entire day. No one knew what he was doing. The commander told people to pay close attention to Zhu Daoshan. After all, such a thing happened and he was really afraid that Zhu Daoshan would do something irreversible. But when he learned that Zhu Daoshan stayed in the Alliance data center for an entire day and didn't come out, he was stunned. What was he doing? At that moment, Zhu Daoshan didn't turn his eyes away and focused on the introduction of the native sex in the Alliance data center. He knew that his granddaughter was dead. Although there was a weak heartbeat, she was really dead. But he wouldn't let her die. The Alliance didn't have revival techniques, but the natives definitely had them. In the end, Zhu Daoshan found what he wanted. Evil Alliance. Corpse God Sect. Chapter 522. Martial Path Mountain. A person appeared on the steps leading to the mountain gate. Nine Demon, you must remember what happened just now. I was the one who blocked the shockwave for you. When Lin Fan had nothing to do, he would brainwash Nine Demon, telling him how good Master was to him and how much he loved him. One had to say that. This method was really useful. He didn't look at Nine Demon's 9 heads as it moved towards Lin Fan's face. Oi, oi, stop licking. Don't think that I didn't see you licking your own **T last time. Martial Path Mountain Main Hall. Young Master Lin, the tremors came from the border. What happened? Zhao Lishan asked. Even if they were so far away, they could sense the ripples. Lin Fan said with a weird expression, all of you sensed it? Martial Path Mountain was far away from the border and logically speaking, it shouldn't have been affected. But since they sensed it, it meant that he had underestimated the strength of star-level energy. If he faced such a situation in the future, he had to be careful. Who knew whether or not he would be able to take it when he reached Dao Realm Stage 5? He shook his head. He wasn't sure. He might have been able to take the ripples, but if he was at the center, he might not have been able to. I sensed it. The ground is shaking. Although it isn't intense, I can sense the space constricting and the dimension becoming chaotic. Zhao Lishan said. Lin Fan sighed. All of you might not dare to believe it, but the Alliance released star-level energy. It is really terrifying and it covers a huge area. Within tens of thousands of kilometers, even Dao Realm Stage 7 experts will be injured. If they were at the center, they would have been wiped out in the blink of an eye. Zhao Lishan was shocked and said in disbelief, how is that possible? If the Alliance had such terrifying strength, they wouldn't have fought with us until now. Lin Fan said, really, I think it might be because this thing is hard to create and it is a huge pressure on the Alliance. But don't worry, it takes time to release star-level energy and we can see it from afar. As long as we flee right away, we won't need to worry about our lives. All of this was only for Dao Realm experts. If it was a normal person, the outcome would be obvious. Even if they were far away, they would be heavily injured and even die. Maybe only the Alliance headquarters would know how terrifying star-level energy was after this self-destruction. As for others, there was no need to say much. Terrifying, this is 100 times more terrifying than a Dao Realm Stage 7 expert self-destructing. Water Emperor was shocked. Who knew that the Alliance headquarters would be so strong? Lin Fan said, 100 times? Water Emperor, you are underestimating it. Even if Dao Realm Stage 7 experts self-destruct, it can't compare to star-level energy. Water Emperor didn't see it with his own eyes, so he didn't know how terrifying it was. But they were so far away and could feel the tremors. If they were there, wouldn't they be scared to death? If there's a chance, I really want to see what that star-level energy is. Could it even shake my Water Emperor? It was normal to brag when one had nothing to do. Otherwise, it would be so boring. Lin Fan took a look. If he really saw it, he would be so scared that he would run away faster than anyone else. Let's not talk about all this. Although this matter is a little dangerous, there are benefits too. The Alliance headquarters has totally offended the 4 alliances. He told everyone about what happened. When Zhao Lishan and the others heard about it, they were shocked. It wasn't that the Alliance headquarters was so overbearing, but that Lin Fan was too strong. He dared to face so many experts. Wasn't he afraid that they would kill him? The sect leaders of the 4 alliances should be fine. They fled really quickly. At most, they would just suffer some injuries, but that was enough. Their rage towards the Alliance headquarters had definitely reached a peak. During this period of time, he had to expand his territory. At the same time, he had the Darkness Chief God Corps, and he should gather those who believed in him together to take care of the territory that he occupied. Since the attention of the 4 alliances is attracted by the alliance, we should expand. Lin Fan said. This was a chance. Although he didn't gain much from this trip, he did manage to do a decent amount of things. But he had to pay attention to the alliance headquarters' star-level energy. It was just too dangerous. This was the same as the alliance headquarters having the key to victory. Even if they couldn't kill anyone, they could destroy a certain place. This was why he needed to raise his cultivation. He was only at Dao Realm Stage 4 and was still a long way away from Dao Realm Stage 5. Water Emperor said, Sect Leader Lin, if the Alliance has such a terrifying weapon, then what is the point of expanding? If we attract their attention, won't the star-level energy destroy all the maps that we worked so hard to expand? If people who said such things were placed on the battlefield, they would cause chaos and they would be hacked to death. Based on what you said, Dao Realm Stage 7 is the end and we have nowhere else to go. Then, what is the point of cultivating? Isn't it just something to look forward to? Maybe one day we will find a way. Lin Fan said. Water Emperor said softly, Sect Leader Lin, there is a path after Dao Realm Stage 7. I know some secrets, it is there. Before he could finish, he was interrupted by Lin Fan. Okay, since it is a secret, then you don't have to tell me so clearly. There is no need. Let's deal with the matter in front of us first. Lin Fan didn't care about the so-called secrets. What did it have to do with him, whether or not they could step into Dao Realm Stage 8? Anyway, he had the small support system. Dao Realm Stage 8 wasn't a problem at all. If something really happened, then he would just study it. Water Emperor was helpless. The new generation will replace the old, and the old will die on the beach. The secrets that I know aren't so popular anymore. How unbearable. The divinator patted Water Emperor's shoulder. You will get used to it. Water Emperor glanced at him. Are you trying to comfort me? Animal. 4 alliances had a meeting. Naturally, they weren't together. Evil Alliance, Monster Alliance, Celestial Alliance, and Buddha Alliance all had their own meetings. Alliance deserves to die. They actually treated us like this. Right? Everyone said that Lin Fan was the most dangerous. I think it was their alliance. That metal lump fell from the sky and exploded. The aura that it gave off was just too terrifying. I personally witnessed old ancestor Kuan disappear without a trace and died without a whole corpse. Uproar. Right, old ancestor Kuan is a Dao Realm Stage 6 expert. Even a Stage 7 expert would find it hard to kill him instantly. Kiki, so what if he is Stage 6? I am at Dao Realm Stage 7. I was so far away, but that shockwave actually heavily injured me. That shockwave was different from the power that we used. It was really scorching, and even my Dao artifact robe was ripped apart. The Alliance headquarters is the most dangerous place. If we don't care about the Alliance, then one day we will be wiped out. Many evil Alliance sect leaders who went out returned, but many of them were still alive. They described the situation to the sect leaders who didn't participate in the battle. To them, it was like a fantasy story. But they all felt the ground shake. In their hearts, they mostly believed it. Thus, when they heard the news, they were in deep thought. Everyone had their own thoughts. To them, this wasn't good news. If the Alliance headquarters had such a destructive weapon, then why didn't they use it in the past? Such a situation didn't only occur in the Evil Alliance meeting. Buddha Alliance and Celestial Alliance were the same. Su Yuanming and Guiyuan were shocked. They came to an agreement with the Alliance headquarters to use one another to obtain benefits, which was why they started a war between the four alliances. But now that they knew that the Alliance headquarters had such a terrifying weapon, they were filled with terror. It was like they were thinking about a certain day in the future. The Alliance headquarters would get what they wanted and they would be destroyed by the Alliance. Although the two of them weren't together. But at that moment, both of them had a thought, which was that they couldn't think too simply. Alliance. Zhu Daoxun's granddaughter incident was magnified by the reporters. The mail was sent to the medical center. The reporters wrote that the Alliance headquarters was going to punish the culprit to appease Zhu Daoxun. At the same time, the commander dealt a heavy blow. He sent people to capture the people who were spouting nonsense on the platform. It had a huge impact. Everyone was in a state of panic. What was more serious was that many people couldn't accept the Alliance headquarters' overbearing actions and started to protest. Headquarters. Commander, this matter is a little too rushed, Cheong asked. He was worried that the citizens would fight back too intensely and cause a bad storm. The commander's face was cold. They gave them too much. They would protest if they wanted something and the Alliance would take a step back to satisfy them. In their words, this is democracy, this is fairness. But now? Their endless demands and the Alliance's unprincipled satisfaction aren't enough to satisfy their desires. Now, a strongest 9-star general who sacrificed his life for the Alliance has become their target. They are even insulting him on the platform. Do you think that this is too rushed? Cheong, as the Alliance's deputy commander, you should understand how humiliating this is for people who truly fight for the Alliance. Cheong kept silent and understood what the commander meant. You are right, but some things can only be done slowly. If we are too rash, we might cause chaos. The commander was furious. Then, kill them. Kill those who aren't happy. Kill those who cause trouble, kill those who insult the Alliance. They have to live up to their conscience. Who was the one who brought us such prosperity? Hell Mountain, Ocean Emperor Island, they weren't the ones who suppressed it. Now that Zhu Daoxun is facing such a thing, not only does he not console him, but he is also spouting nonsense. He is just asking to die. Cheong looked at the commander and knew that he was filled with killing intent. It would be hard to change that. Commander, this is an important matter and you can't decide it alone. They definitely won't agree to it. The Alliance system wasn't decided by one person. Even when the commander faced some things, he couldn't do whatever he wanted. Suddenly, right when Cheong said this, he sensed a strong killing intent spreading in the meeting room. Who agrees? Who objects? Shortly after, the commander stared at Cheong and said coldly, "Do you object?" Cheong felt huge pressure on his body. He thought about it and sighed helplessly. No. The commander said, "Then, what are you waiting for? Move." Yes. Outside the door, Wu Zhiga leaned against the wall and heard everything that was said. When Cheong came out, he saw Wu Zhiga and nodded helplessly. "I heard everything." Wu Zhiga nodded and didn't say anything. Cheong said, "This matter is caused by Zhu Daoxun. No matter what the outcome is, the commander's violent actions will be passed down." Wu Zhiga shook his head and smiled. Violent? Maybe only the Alliance would do that. Although I don't live in the rich land, there, the weak dare to judge the strong. They will die for nothing, so they can only do that in the Alliance. Cheong didn't agree, so, the natives are just natives, a symbol of backwardness. They won't be able to enjoy prosperity like the Alliance. Prosperity? Wu Zhiga asked. Stop lying to yourself. If Zhu Daoxun knew that all he got was such prosperity, he would rather stay at home and raise his granddaughter than give up everything for the Alliance. Cheong frowned. Aren't your words a little too? If it isn't suitable, then so be it. After this matter, it seems like a door has been opened in my mind. Oh right, the tech division is really active. Let them solve the four alliances.
I won't participate in it for now. Anyways, I have already been called a traitor, so what else can I be afraid of? Kiki. Wu Zhiga laughed and left with his arms behind his back. Qiong looked at Zhu Daoshen's back view and all of a sudden, he didn't know what to say. To Wu Zhiga, the commander's actions were a little too late. If he did that earlier, then this wouldn't have happened. Within a residential building, a guy posted his thoughts on the Alliance platform. Zhu Daoshen's matter annoyed him, and he felt that the Alliance headquarters were sucking up to Zhu Daoshen, which was why they didn't go to court and punish him. Many people agreed with his comment. Although many people scolded him, it didn't affect him at all. Pung! Suddenly, there was a loud explosion. The door was violently smashed open from the outside. The people who moved weren't normal Alliance members who maintained order, but they were strong Alliance army members. Very quickly, someone hollered in rage. "Who are you? Who allowed you to trespass into my house without my permission? I want to complain. Release me." Pung! Shortly after, there were screams of pain. There was a huge commotion here and it attracted the attention of the people around. They didn't know what was going on and just felt that it was really sudden. Such a situation was common in various parts of the Alliance. Everyone was dumbfounded. Who knew what was going on? The people who moved were all from the Alliance army. They gave off a fierce aura and when normal citizens saw them, they were terrified and hid far away. Very quickly, the truth was revealed. So, it was because of Zhu Daoshen's matter. This made many citizens unhappy and they started to protest. What they didn't expect was that it was as if the Alliance headquarters had eaten gunpowder. They didn't reject anyone. As long as they resisted, they would capture them. Not long later, when the citizens learned that the person who caused the most trouble had been sentenced to death, they were all stunned, as if they had been scared out of their wits. They only had one thought in their hearts. Was the commander crazy? At the same time, the cruel actions of the Alliance headquarters stunned them. Facing such a vicious move from the headquarters, no one dared to cause trouble. Even if there were people who protested, they were captured right away. This was just the start of the Alliance's unrest. As for the exact outcome, it would depend on how the Alliance headquarters was prepared to end it. But for the Alliance citizens, they felt that this was the darkest moment of the Alliance. They felt like they were like ants in the hands of those 9-star generals. They couldn't do anything and they couldn't even sneeze. Richland. Evil Alliance, Corpse God Sect. Zhu Daoshen had been searching for Corpse God Sect ever since he left the Alliance. Corpse God Sect was just a normal sect in Evil Alliance. It wasn't eye-catching at all. Even if it was wiped out, no one would care. The cultivation of the Corpse God Sect's sect master was only at the Void Transformation realm. He was very weak and humble. Amongst normal sects, he was one of the weakest. Zhu Daoshen searched for a way to save his granddaughter from the Alliance data center, so he could only search in Richland. Corpse God Sect was his target. To Zhu Daoshen, such a weak sect could be wiped out with a flick of his finger and totally disappear from the world. Zhu Daoshen didn't descend directly. He walked from the foot of the mountain. Very quickly, he reached the entrance of the sect. "Who are you?" A disciple blocked his path and questioned. Zhu Daoshen cupped his fists. "I want to meet your sect leader, please do me a favor." The disciple sized up Zhu Daoshen and felt that he wasn't someone to be offended. He said, "Then wait a moment." The disciple left hurriedly. To Zhu Daoshen, Corpse God Sect was a native sect and he could just wipe them out. But this was his hope and he couldn't allow it to disappear. Not long later, someone walked over from the distance. Corpse God sect leader didn't know who it was, but he heard the disciple say that a stranger wanted to meet him. At the same time, he mentioned that it was an old man and he didn't look like a normal person. This shocked the sect leader and he obviously didn't dare to meet him. After all, the Corpse God sect was just an ordinary sect,
and his cultivation was only at the void transformation realm. There was no limit to his trash. I am Corpse God sect leader Hien. Who are you? Hien wasn't very old, but he was already middle-aged. His talent wasn't good and his cultivation rose too slowly. This was why it was normal for him to be at Void Realm. At the same time, he looked at the person warily. He didn't know him and he didn't look familiar. Who was he? Why did he come to Corpse God sect? Zhu Daoshan said, I am Zhu Daoshan and I would like to ask sect leader he about revival technique. I hope that you can teach me and I will remember your kindness. Sect master he was stumped, as though he did not understand what Lin Fan had just said. Old mister, you must be looking at the wrong place. How could we possibly be resurrected from the dead? Our sect is just an ordinary sect, and even my cultivation base is only at the paradise realm. If our sect really had the ability to resurrect the dead, how could we be in such dire straits? I think you must have heard some false rumors. Sect leader he didn't know that the person in front of him was the strongest 9-star general in the Alliance, Zhu Daoshan. After all, the strongest 9-star general in the Alliance was a little far for normal sections. They didn't even have the right to join the evil Alliance meeting. The sect leader was only at Void Realm, and he couldn't even compare to some disciples. Zhu Daoshan said firmly, No, you do. Hien shook his head. I really don't. Yes, you definitely do. Zhu Daoshan's emotions fluctuated and he was pretty much unreasonable. This made sect leader he a little unhappy. Old mister, aren't you being a little unreasonable? How could our sect possibly have a resurrection technique? Instantly, a shocking aura exploded from Zhu Daoshan's body. You do, you can. Your Corpse God sect definitely has revival technique. Put on. This aura was just too terrifying. Hien and the others all sat on the ground. Their expressions were filled with terror and cold sweat appeared on their foreheads. That terrified look on their faces exploded out. They thought that he was just a crazy old man. But at this moment they realized that this old man was someone they couldn't offend. Just the aura that he gave off was something one couldn't block. How terrifying would that be? At that moment, the shocking aura dissipated. Zhu Daoshan reacted and headed forwards to help Hien up. Sect leader I am sorry. To him, Corpse God sect was his hope, so how could he offend him? Sect leader he put on a long face and spoke with a trembling voice. Senior, if my sect has offended you, please be magnanimous and let us speak slowly. We can talk slowly. Zhu Daoshan's tone slowed down. I just want to ask your sect to help me revive a dead person. Don't worry, I can give all of you unimaginable benefits. Sect leader he replied. Senior, how can the dead come back to life? My sect can only refine living people into corpse demons. But to refine dead people into corpse demons, that's impossible. If there was such a method, how could my sect still be a small sect? We would have long searched for the corpses of those experts. Sect leader he cursed in his heart. Which bastard was the one who wanted to harm them? He actually spread such nonsense. All of you can do it. I believe you. Zhu Daoshan said. Sect leader he cried, Senior, you really can't. You can, tell me that you can. You definitely can. Zhu Daoshan grabbed his shoulder. As he used too much strength, his face turned ashen white. Pain, it was really painful. Yes, yes. Sect leader he panicked. He was afraid that if he said no, he would be crushed to death. Where did this senior come from? Was it easy for him to think of Corpse God sect? His cultivation technique was also trash, and he had been surviving in the crack. He had never thought that he would be targeted by such a powerhouse. Moreover, it was an unreasonable one. He was about to cry. Zhu Daoshan was delighted. Tears appeared in his eyes. Good, this is great. I told you that you could do it. Don't worry, I will keep my promise. As long as you can do it, I will give you whatever you want as long as you can revive him. Let's go, follow me now.
Hien was stunned and then said, "Senior, wait, this matter is a little complicated. Please allow me to prepare some things." "Right, I was too anxious. How can this be so simple?" "Naturally, I have to prepare," Zhu Daoshan said. Chapter 523. Damn, I am finished! The moment Hien entered the room, he locked the door and leaned against it. His face was ashen white and he was sweating profusely. He muttered to himself. He was finished. He didn't know how to face the following situation. What a cheat. He scratched his head and a helpless glow appeared in his eyes. He didn't know what to do. How could there be such a thing to revive someone from the dead? Even the top sects didn't have such an ability. If this goes on, I will die. The first thought that appeared in Hien's mind was to run and leave the sect. He didn't care so much and just wanted to live. But he felt like he had been locked onto by someone outside. Even if he couldn't see him with his naked eye, that person would know whether or not he was in the room. Running away was impossible. Who is the one bragging outside? He was thinking about whether or not a disciple felt that Corpse God sect wasn't famous enough, so he just bragged about his own sect. If an expert didn't hear it, that was understandable, but the key was that an expert had heard it. The other party had personally come to find him, wanting to know how to revive the dead. After a long while, Zhu Daoshan's voice spread in from outside. "Sect leader He, are you ready?" When Hien heard this, his body shuddered and his heart was filled with fear. "Yes, yes." Then, sect leader He acted like he was bringing a few things over. Corpse God sect didn't have anything valuable. The most valuable thing was a corpse-raising coffin. It wasn't a Dao artifact and was just a small toy with some special abilities. Sect entrance. The disciples looked on as the sect leader left. Hien looked at his personal disciple and communicated with his gaze like he was saying, "Disciple, I am leaving and I might not be able to return. Do as you see fit. Disband or take over the position of sect leader, as long as you are happy." Zhu Daoshan couldn't wait any longer. He grabbed sect leader He and headed towards the alliance. The Corpse God sect disciples cheered. They looked at one another and found it hard to hide the excitement in their hearts. "I didn't expect our sect to have a revival technique." Haha, an expert came to seek help from the sect leader. "If I didn't personally witness it, I wouldn't dare to believe it." Sect leader really hid it well. "That's right. If it weren't for the experts who came to ask, I'm afraid we wouldn't have known either. If Hien knew what these fellows were thinking, he would definitely spit out a mouthful of blood. Was there a hole in their brains? At this moment, he finally understood. The main reason why the Corpse God sect could not develop was not only because he was the sect master, but also because these disciples were not good enough. City of Darkness. With the village chief as their leader, a group of bootlickers were tasked with praying to the Statue of Faith in the morning and evening. Xue Jinru and her father had already settled down in Darkness City. They had felt the power of faith. I have no doubt about it. And today, the statue once again erupted with dazzling divine light. No matter what the villagers were doing, they all stopped what they were doing and knelt in front of the statue. Ever since the disaster had befallen this place, the Master God had appeared once, but he had never appeared again. Now that he had appeared again, it meant that something important must have happened. Lin Fan was used to acting mysterious, and it was really easy for him to do so. The message he was sending to the villagers was to accept the guidance of the chief god. The mission of saving the world was on them. The content was really high class and really cool. It was worthy of his identity as the chief god. Of course, Lin Fan didn't want them to know that the chief god they all believed in was him. Mystery was what made one sink in. If he revealed it too early, it wouldn't have that effect. Excitement appeared on the faces of the villagers. This time was different from the past.
This time the chief god was guiding them and giving them a bright light. Therefore, the villagers packed their things, led their livestock, and happily set off into the distance. To them, this was a direct from the chief god. It was definitely different now. Mountain City didn't do anything. Lin Fan didn't appear there mainly because there was a high chance of development there. The situation was really unstable. Mountain City was a good place to go. Many normal people lost their homes, and when they passed by Mountain City, they would choose to stay here. Once they stayed here, they would slowly be curious about the statues in the city and slowly have faith. This was a good time to raise their strength, so how could they let it go so easily? Lin Wani's situation was the same as usual and nothing happened. Hayes, Water Emperor, sent news to tell us to be careful of the Alliance headquarters' secret weapon. When Su Changsun saw the news, he was a little helpless. This fellow was really weak, fleeing at the last moment and defecting to Lin Fan. But the content that followed shocked Su Changsheng. The Alliance headquarters' secret weapon is star-level energy and it is really strong. Even Dao Realm Stage 7 experts can't take it head-on. Your son personally experienced it. Su Changsun's words stunned Lin Wani and he said anxiously, "What the hell is this brat up to again?" Su Changsun said, "Water Emperor didn't say it clearly and just roughly. But what is star-level energy? It can actually injure someone at Dao Realm Stage 7 and can even kill them." Lin Wani shook his head and thought about it. "I don't know. I have never heard that the Alliance has such a thing." But when he heard that it could cause such terrifying damage to someone at Dao Realm Stage 7, his heart shook and he felt like things were a little off. Old Ancestor Zhao opened his mouth. "It seems like we have to be careful in the future. The Alliance headquarters suddenly having such a weapon isn't good for us." The three peak experts looked at one another and thought about what to do next. Su Changsun thought about what Water Emperor said. Since things were already like that, why not follow Lin Fan and maybe they could do something big? In the past, naturally, he wouldn't agree and would even scoff. But as some things happened, he actually had such a thought. Maybe that was a good thing. Lin Wani saw that Su Changsun's expression wasn't right. What happened? Su Changsun shook his head. Nothing. When he spoke, his gaze was dodging and he really felt guilty. As the country protector of the former imperial dynasty, how could he have such thoughts? If the former emperor found out, he would climb out of his coffin and smash his head. Lin Wani looked at him in confusion. He didn't think so much about it. "I will head to Marshall Path Mountain. All of you protect this place," Lin Wani said. He had to find that unfilial kid and ask for the truth. What happened at the Alliance headquarters, and what was star-level energy? After Lin Wani left, Su Changsun pulled Old Ancestor Zhao. "Should we change our way of thinking?" Old Ancestor Zhao frowned. "What do you mean?" "That is..." Su Changsun found it hard to say. It sounded bad, and it seemed like he could only slowly lead him from the shallow to the deep. In the end, he would simply let Lin Fan understand what he was trying to say. "Alliance. Where is this?" Hien looked around in confusion. This was the first time he traveled through the dimension, and everything around him was turbid. To him, it was like a dream. He was even thinking about whether or not this was the legendary dimension. Zhu Daoshan said, "This is the Alliance." Hien looked at him with his mouth agape. "Alliance? Then you are..." Zhu Daoshan didn't hide anything. "I am the Alliance's strongest 9-star general, Zhu Daoshan. The person you want to save is my granddaughter. Don't worry, I won't do anything to you. As long as you succeed, I will ensure you a life of riches." These conditions were just too good. Who didn't want a life of riches? But the key was that he didn't have the ability. He was finished. He was totally finished. I'm afraid there's really no hope. He didn't expect him to be from the Alliance and also one of the strongest 9-star generals. This was just too much. Hien took advantage of this period of time to think about what he should do to escape. He thought of all methods. In the end, he realized that he had no choice. With his strength, even if he escaped, what ability did he have to escape from the Alliance's territory? Zhu Daoxin sensed He Yin's emotions and said calmly, "I just need you to be able to do it. But if you disappoint me, then I won't be disappointed. I will definitely succeed." That was a little too much. He Yin wanted to smash his head against the wall, but he didn't have the courage. Very quickly, Zhu Daoxin brought He Yin to the villa. This was where he lived and it was really special. When He Yin came here, he was attracted by the modern technology around. This was something he had never seen in the sect. Zhu Daoxin said, "As long as you can do it, no matter how big the place is, I will give it to you." The conditions were really attractive. To be treated like a treasure by an expert made him feel really flattered. He was even thinking about how good it would be if he could really come back to life. Unfortunately, he didn't have that ability. The nannies saw that the old man brought an outsider they didn't know back. No one dared to ask and they just did their own things. Within the room. "This is my granddaughter. Take a look." Zhu Daoxin stood beside the bed. Each time he saw his granddaughter, his heart would hurt. He didn't see any granddaughter, but he saw a cocoon that was wrapped up like a dumpling. "Can you remove the bandages?" "I can't see the exact situation, so it is hard to say," He said. He had already thought about it. He had to check it seriously and then tell him that it would take a period of time. He needed too many materials, and it wasn't something that could be solved in a day. Only then would he be able to keep his life. Then, he would search for a chance to escape in the limited time. Even if he was in the Alliance, he couldn't lose the confidence to live. Zhu Daoxin had lived to such an age and had seen all sorts of things. Without saying a word, he removed the bandages around his granddaughter. "See!" When He saw the little girl's situation, he couldn't help but suck in a deep cold breath. Oh my God! What a ruthless method! He was afraid that they were already dead. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.